All right, and welcome back everyone to TCL Season 7. This is week 2, day 1. We got Tails Never Fails versus Ride or Die. My name's AiBox. I got Jaws with me. Steve, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I think we're gonna have ourselves. I mean, we've had incredible series all throughout week one, so I'm hoping that the streak continues
Oh
to
yeah.
roll in. We've got the Greek tragedy of Tails Never Fails. They were winning. They were pretty much about to win, and then
Yeah.
unfortunately not able to bring it home. And then on the other side, kind of the opposite, where Ride or Die. I don't want to say backs against the wall, but some seriously topsy turvy games, and they were
Yeah.
able to pull it out. So curious to see how they're going to react in this game too. Tails Never Fails looking to bounce back, Ride or Die looking to keep things moving.
Exactly. And both teams kind of coming off of some really close matches. So I think it's going to be tough where they got to go through the rest of the season now. That was the beginning, and now they got to keep that mental up and just kind of keep it going. Whether they're maintaining a momentum or trying to build it up, either way, like I'm really excited for this match. This could be kind of a pivotal kind of season defining match for both these teams.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there is a lot of season left to go, and that's the great thing about these best of three series. And also, we had said it before: everybody makes playoffs, so you can use these six. You and I had that experience, right? We went
Yeah.
through, we went 0
Mhm.
6 regular
Well,
season, and we used it as a way to work our way
yeah.
through a lot of things, and then we're able to kind of make things happen in playoffs. But speaking of playing, here we are,
Yeah.
champion select.
Yeah. And Steve, it almost wasn't that way. I don't know if you kind of saw what was going on in the chat
Oh yeah,
the other
oh yeah,
day.
oh yeah. Hey,
But
I
yeah.
had to call it out because
Yeah, exactly.
the
There you go.
decision was made. So as we see Echo as the first band coming
Yeah,
down.
that makes sense. You got to get that out of Eli's hands. That's just kind of one of his signature picks, and I don't think we've ever not seen him pop off whenever he gets Echo. So I think it just makes a lot of sense. And right back at it, there's the Seraphine.
Yeah, yeah, that's the tail whip special. They're not going
Hmm.
to let him have that. Okay, so Renekton, that's an interesting pick. We saw music. So another important note. By the way, Caridian was absolutely spamming RRRRR, which is why we just like sped run into
Just got
Champion
right
Select.
into it. Yeah,
So we'll
yeah.
give a little bit more context. There was a last minute sub for Ride or Die. Hippogriff had to be subbed out for music. Thank you so much for making sure that the series was able to kind of go on time. Renekton was a pick that we saw in their first week series, and he was pretty solid on it, able to really kind of bully his opponent.
Mhm.
And J Bob is definitely someone that could be bullied in certain matchups. Likes to play tanks, likes to scale. Briar, speaking of bullying, bully loves Briar. Uh, and then Renata, a lemon special as Mordekaiser grabbed from J-Bob. J-Bob was on the wrong end of the Mordekaiser in the first week series, looking to get a little bit of revenge, take it for himself. Silas, yeah, that's an all take mid special as well. So yeah, starting things off, these teams know each other incredibly well, and they are really taking pot shots in the bands. Great Mordekaiser first pick. As the Rakan has hovered, you and I know this one very well from
Yeah.
Rudy.
Absolutely. This is definitely Rudy's signature. I think so far, there's been no surprises kind of in the draft. Both teams banning exactly what you would expect. Both teams now picking exactly what you expect. Like you said, Mordekaiser, kind of just a great overall pick, gives a lot of agency to the top laner. And then the Rakan, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Zaya coming out here, right, as well, because that's kind of really a strong kind of duo right now. Always relatively decent. But no, they're going to go with the Gwen
Oh,
instead for, Gwen for music. So now with
interesting.
the Renekton out, they kind of pivot over to the Gwen, gives them a little bit of AP utility. Maybe lets them flex their draft a little bit more because maybe they want to move toward with the other lane something a little bit more spicy. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, and there's the Zaya,
Yeah,
the
the counter
Zaya
pick
hover. Okay,
exactly. That's
okay,
kind of what I
here
was
we
expecting
go.
because like Zaya Rakan is just really strong right now, and I know Toasty definitely feels very comfortable in the Zaya as well. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, definitely good taking that away. And the Gwen scales incredibly well, and also magic. Solid magic damage, going to give all take mid some options. We were looking at the history as we see Nautilus being grabbed by Lemon. Morgana, interestingly, is still up,
Oh,
and
the
Lemon opting
Callista.
as we see the Callista hover from Toasty, the
No,
Vayne hover.
I think he's just
Let's
picking. He's
let's
just
let
hovering
him
random things.
settle.
Yeah, no, he's
Uh,
not gonna.
yeah.
I could see the Kaisa, but I could. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, I was going to say in the top lane, Gwen giving I'll take mid some flexibility. We did see in his match history that he was playing a couple of different AD assassins. So with that magic damage carry, damage carry coming from the other solo lane, it frees him up to play something a little bit more AD. We also saw
Yeah, you're also
um,
getting hybrid damage out of Kaisa.
That is very, very true. We also we did see Toasty also kind of hovering Ziggs. He's getting, as you said,
Mm.
the hybrid damage from Kaisa. The Xerath is being taken away from Tony. We saw in game 3 of that series, Tony was just an absolute monster. Espen, just watching poor Espen on Soraka running for his life as Tony was just sniping him
Yeah,
down
it was
was
bad.
brutal. And they
Yeah.
just don't want to deal with that again.
No, I don't blame them. Especially just kind of by nature poke champions if they get ahead, just can feel so oppressive because like where do you stand? Every minute he's just pressing R and then hunting you down if they have any sort of frontline vision pushed up. And it can just feel like, okay, now I'm out of this objective. My team just has to contest 4v5 or something like that.
Yeah, it's brutal. Okay, there's Diana. So
Yeah.
it's
All
we're
our
in the
signature picks, yeah.
Yep. In the second wave of bans, it's time to get rid of all of the things that all take mid can, pretty much carry the
Exactly.
game with. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to think what is going to be the next one. As Trundle, that is
Bundle.
right at Bully.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, Actually, interestingly, not as many Bully jungle bans as there were last time. I remember in the last series, the Penguin Pajama Party really targeted his pool, trying to kind of push him back on his like fourth or fifth
Yeah.
pick. Now he's on his third, got a couple of different options. As Jarvan
Ooh, the jungle.
is that so he actually kind of banning himself because he does play Jarvan as well
Yeah.
as the Twitch is hovered.
I think it's one of those where Bully doesn't actually love playing Jarvan. He just know he has to do so, and kind of in certain situations. And I mean that makes sense. I think Jarvan is a strong champion situationally, and have certain picks that really make a lot of sense. As we see the Ivern hover, I actually wouldn't be surprised to see this, especially with a Gwen and a Kaisa on the team. But no, they
Ooh.
actually pick up the Nico for Eli. He plays this a lot. I'll take mid. Definitely loves this champion. Gives himself a lot of both safety and a lot of opportunity to be the playmaker that he needs to be for his team. The person that is initiating, the person that is kind of setting up those really big wombo plays.
Okay, and Udyr is up. That was one of the main bans that we saw leveled at Bully. He is going to lock it in. That this is one of his staples. If you look at his match history, it's been Udyr and it's been Briar all the way to Diamond. So
Hmm.
he's super comfortable on this champion. And looking at it, yeah, just got the. I think it's just mid.
Yep.
There's the
And
Jace.
they're gonna go with the
Okay,
Jace. There it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, they have a little bit of AP damage coming out of J-Bob from the Mordekaiser, but they also have like a great just front line, just in general. Mordekaiser eliminating someone immediately from a team fight, and then Udyr just kind of running at people. As the Jax hover, no, they're just kind of hovering random things, but at the same time, I like compositionally how Tony's team has kind of come together. You kind of look at how they fight, how they want to contest objectives. As long as they're able to get into a situation where they can have maybe a flanker, maybe someone poking around from the outside as they do lock in that
What?
Jax
Oh,
in for
Jax
music. Yes.
Jungle.
I could see it going either way, but it looks like it's going into that top lane with the Gwen jungle.
I
Gwen
think
for
let's see
Davis,
when
actually.
they swap.
Yeah,
I
they
want to
very
see when
well
they
might
finally
pull that.
yeah, when they finally lock it in. They might be
Jack's jungle
discussing
would
this.
certainly make more sense, but you never know. I feel like it's one of those things where teams are kind of in the stage where they're trying out new things, they're trying out new compositions, they're kind of seeing what works, and not just what works compositionally in terms of the grander macro side of the game, but what works for their team. It's not necessarily what is the best composition, but it's what's the best composition for you. What's the best composition for the personnel that you have.
Yeah, I'm actually while you're you can keep talking a little bit. I'm actually going to double check. Okay, so they did
Yeah,
actually play a practice game. I do see J Jazz playing Jack's top, so just wait for this to confirm. By the way, if any of y'all would like to jump in and let us know what you
ooh,
think about this so far. Okay, yeah, they haven't
I like
swapped it,
that.
so it's gonna be a
Yeah,
Jack's top.
there it is.
All right.
Jack's
So if
top.
any, as we said, we got spectator delay. If any of y'all want to come in, give us your take. We'll start things off. Feel free to jump into the armchair analysts channel. In the meantime, let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about
So
these
we got the
tops.
Gwen jungle
Hmm.
and the Jax top. So I just want to jump in. I did look at the history. So Music has played Jax. He's about 60% win rate, pretty good KDA. And the Gwen jungle is something that I personally haven't seen a ton, but it doesn't surprise me that she's got a little bit of tankiness. She can kind of chop through things, and she scales pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting pick.
My eyes are going to be on the Zaya during a lot of these team fights. I'm wondering, just because the side of Rod is very scrappy. You kind of look at the Jax, you look at the Gwen. It's just they love these kind of breakout skirmishes. So if they're able to kind of split these team fights, kind of split them off into very fragmented mini fights, I think it looks really good for Ride or Die. But if on the side of Tails Never Fails, if you look and you kind of see, hey, like do they have the ability to kind of peel the Saya so she can get a lot of feathers out, maybe wait out the Gwen Shroud? Maybe if they're kind of able to play in a ball, really play together, I could totally see Tails Never Fails really capitalizing on this very skirmish heavy kind of style that they have. Really just relying on the Jax jump and the Nico engage with
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of Rakan follow up.
well, yeah, the pick potential, especially, you do have kind of a pseudo long range engage with the Kaisa,
Hmm.
right? If Kaisa lands a good
Yeah.
where they could kind of split this. On the other side, looking at Tails Never Fails, they kind of want to run you down. Right there's it's a lot of rundown, it's a lot of
Yeah.
poke, right? Getting that Jace moving, and as you said with Zaya, there's also a lot of strong pick potential. So
Yeah.
good pick potential on both sides, but it really seems like the play style is ride or die. They probably want to spread the map a little bit, maybe try to catch Tails Never Fails in some rotations, whereas Tails Never Fails just wants to set up siege and just run ride or die over.
Exactly, and I think this is made all the harder by the fact that the Mordekaiser is probably just going to be ulting the Jax out of the fight with every team fight. So that's kind of like a big element of your composition gone right off the bat. If your Jax isn't kind of that backline threat, isn't the kind of showing the ability to flank and really get in there,
Mhm.
because Mordekaiser is just going to delete him from the fight, then it makes it a lot harder compositionally for the Nico to do what she needs to do, and for the Kaisa to really do anything but front to back.
Yeah, no, that I completely agree. I'm actually double checking to see if there's any other interactions with Mordekaiser ult, because that was a game winner. That was a
Yeah.
series winner with Sir Aaron ulting Tony out of the fight.
Hmm.
The flashier play was the Viego bounce, canceling tail whips jump, but
Yeah.
really that kind of unsung hero of press R on the right player at the right time in order to win the series. But yeah, we're into this. So Box, who do you think is going to take this one?
I am gonna roll with. I'm going to take Tails Never Fails on this one. I think compositionally they have a little bit of an easier game to play. As long as J-Bob doesn't ult that Nico clone and is ulting that Jax every single time, I think we're going to see good things coming out of them. Compositionally, I think Ride or Die is just going to be a harder team to play and to pilot. And I think at this point, at this stage in the season, easier to execute is just going to be overall better. What about you?
Ye-
And honestly, I just kind of looking at everything, I feel like as we go into this level one, there are some interesting things that could come out of the early game. I mean, you never know. Is Korean going to get heavily accelerated on this Gwen jungle, or is he going to be punished by the Udyr? Just looking at these teams, there's going to be a lot of onus on these mid jungle, especially in the duo kind of mid game, early game. What's going to happen? Are they going to be making plays, or are they going to just try and sit back and try and scale?
yeah, that I'm definitely looking at that as well. I think you're right. I think Tails Never Fails definitely has they have the more balanced comp. It can do a lot of different things. I'm just gonna say I like Ride or Die's comp. I think it's really fun.
Hmm.
So I think
Oh,
just
as Tony's
just in
walking
terms
in
of the
and
yeah, just in terms of the fun factor, I really would love to see Ride or Die take this one.
totally,
I
totally.
think I really do think that the top lane matchup is a little bit more lopsided than we would think, and I think that I'll take mid as well does have a little bit of early harass and pick potential to just keep Tony on the back foot, which is going to give Caridian the ability to kind of scale into that mid game. That's what they're looking for, and I think they have the kind of the skill and the experience to snowball that. So just to keep things interesting, I'm going to actually go with Ride or Die, but I do agree with you. I think
Ooh,
Tales
love
Never
it.
Fails has a more solid team composition.
Yeah, I think it's just easier to execute. And just kind of looking across at our various summoners and things like that, we do have cleanse on that Kaisa, just respecting that power from the Nautilus, especially with that root. And we also have a stopwatch out of Rudy. So I kind of want to keep an eye and see if they make use of that in a dive or something.
Oh yeah, they absolutely will. That's going to be coming out. And Rudy has never seen, you know, a fight he has not wanted to engage in.
Absolutely, yeah.
As we see music already starting to kind of like pseudo
Yeah.
zone J Bob off the wave. Jack's one of those champions where he used to be one of those where it's like, oh, completely useless
Hmm.
early and scales into
Ooh.
infinity, but now just
Nice. Looks for
missing.
the hook. Forces out
Yep.
the W from the Rakan. I think another thing that we should talk about is the fact that the junglers started cross map from each other. Bot lane got in there, didn't need to leash, so that's why Xayah and Nautilus had such a good push early on. They knew they wanted Prio with his Inslant. They wanted a chance to give their Udyr some space to farm and then walk up and potentially make something happen. And especially kind of looking at how these junglers are behaving, they know Udyr knows that he's going to be playing weak side top, so he wants to be down into the bot lane. He wants to be playing toward them.
Yeah, he definitely is. And there's already, we see major chunks coming out from Toasty. And then Tony on the other side is also getting chunked out. So, that those advantages that we were talking about starting to pay dividends. A very small CS advantage in the top side.
Yeah, but
Um,
man, look
but
at this
it's but
damage.
yeah, this is just brutal. And this is the thing that I was a little concerned about with the Jace pick is that Nico can just do whatever she wants in this lane, and
Yeah.
I'll take mid knows exactly how to do about this. And then also, Lemon and Tail.
Ooh, he's
Oh
going
no.
for the kill, and he's going to get first blood on that as well. With the ignite, lands the root, just goes for the Q. No regen left on the side of Jace, and he is gone. And at least he has TP.
Yeah, I believe he lost his first cannon, which is, oh, man, that's rough. That's insult to injury as we see Bully
Ooh, we
coming
see some
in.
feathers going down. Rudy going in now, and the glacial is down. Lemon is going to be able to auto, gets the root over onto Toasty, who has his force to cleanse, gets the double root with the feathers. Very nice job by Tailwhip as they have the ignite running onto the Kaisa, but she's able to just run away without burning flash.
Yeah, so we see Ghost burned for Udyr as well as Kaisa. Yeah, running double mobility sums. Tailwhip is Ghost plus Flash. Lemon burning the Unite, as you had mentioned, but really good Flash discipline. Nobody actually burned a Flash. It was just the cleanse from Toasty. As we see some return damage from J-Bob onto J-Jazz. So yeah, you nailed it, right? Bully wanted to apply some pressure into that bot side. The CS differential is starting to show, and Lemon is really aggressive in his
Love it.
positioning. And so yeah, they're absolutely going to be playing
They
through
have
Tail.
nothing to fear.
They won the series through Tail last time, so it makes no sense not to do it again.
Yeah, and Tailwhip knows he has at least one wave to play with. They saw Gwen backing in that top side when J-Bob went to go check that bush. Who, speaking of top side, the top lane is really equilibrated. That level 1 looked bad, but he's up in CS and he has the wave push. He knows he's completely safe. Nico's showing mid, so he can just push on this Jackson, abuse him. Meanwhile, bot lane is going to let this wave bounce back. So overall, waves are looking pretty darn good across the map, especially with the CS lead. And actually every single lane, Nico's still down a little bit despite the kill.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that. Tony did a great job of taking full advantage of that teleport and making sure that he picked up as much CS as he possibly could. However, he is just getting repeatedly chunked out. And, as soon as that ignite is up or as soon as Nico takes 6, she's going to be jumping all over him as we see Caridian taking a little sneaky peek bot. Did lose the bot scuttle. Got the top scuttle though.
Mid lane,
So
Tony might die again.
Yeah.
Oh, he has 1 HP.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. It's one of those where
Scaling.
he can fall behind. It is okay. They just cannot let this Nico snowball because that is certainly the win condition going into this game. You kind of look at the way these teams want to play, and Nico really is going to be the playmaker. And so if I'll Take Mid is able to get ahead, it's going to look very, very bad overall. But if they can kind of contain it, just not give up too many kills, they're going to be just fine.
Actually, can I take a look? Can you take a look mid lane? I want to see if I think Bully's just going to get the scuttle. Can I just see mid lane if Nico is freezing or is she just slow pushing?
We're seeing looks like it is a freeze.
Ooh,
I mean, she's going to be able to
that's
just
a
kind of
brutal
keep
freeze
this here for a while. Yeah.
And she's 6. So yeah, he's gonna be able to try to reset it with some of those shock blasts,
No,
but
it's
and we
too
see
late.
actually it's an early dragon. Bully's starting up an early dragon right now.
This is good. They have prio in every lane.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. And Bully, I said this last series. Bully loves to prioritize dragons, and typically he'll be able to sneak one and usually get his team to about 2 dragons pretty quickly. As we see
them going in bottom with that glacial augment, landing some nice little W's there, but that's kind of the power of this Nautilus lane. He has to be very scared. If he gets rooted and ignited, it can look a little dangerous from real quick, especially going glacial instead of something like Aftershock or Guardian.
Yeah, and we see Bully grabbing the skull as well in that bot side. So Dragon goes down, quick back from the Nico.
Yeah, Philip's a little low on mana, so I don't know if they can really make something else happen here, especially with his E-burn, but they're just going to look and try and get some farm and leave.
I honestly think they're just chilling. I mean, they got a CS lead. They probably got a nice pile of gold in their pocket. They're they're going to come back. They're going to hit 6, and they're probably going to go for an all-in. Nautilus all-in is pretty straightforward. So, all in all, really strong start across all of the different lanes for actually in a couple of different ways, right? As you said, J-Bob kind of holding strong against that Jax. In the mid lane, I'll take mid, taking full advantage of that Nico.
Oh, Nico coming out of the bush with now hitting level 6, lands the root, lands everything onto him. Tony is able to just walk away, though. Doesn't have to burn flash just yet. Might have to burn it to drop this. Yep. Dodge that next Nico Q. Is forced to burn flash. Nico with the minion plays, kind of a classic.
Yeah, I'll take mid kind of read my mind. I was like, yeah, he's going to go back. He's going to buy. He's going to walk back in the lane and he's going to all in him because everything is
Mm-hmm.
up. But also now has flash advantage. So once again, great flash discipline from I'll take mid. Burns the ignite, forces the flash out of Tony. And when Tony comes back in the lane, he's going to crash this wave, force Bully to take it. And then when Tony comes back in, rinse and repeat. And he's going to
Exactly.
slowly start to build this lead. As we see Hook coming in. Oh, just missed.
That's a big wave that Tony's missing too. He missed the cannon. He's probably gonna miss most of this melee wave too. Yeah, exactly. That's what, like 5 minions, 4 minions, 3 minions plus a cannon, something like that.
It's a lot.
And I think ultimately you kind of look at that situation and count your minions. That's our takeaway here.
Yeah, remember, kids. Remember, kids. When in doubt, count your minions.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Eli looking, or I'll take mid looking very seasoned on this Nico pick. Definitely going to be one of his favorites. But the objective control coming out of Bully is quite impressive. Goes down, has Prio in the bot lane, takes that dragon. Now, despite having a little bit of a weaker top side, is still going to be able to secure this rift potentially. Getting a little bit low. Here's Caridian to come and possibly contest this. He does have help coming in from the Nico, and there it is. It's probably going to go by way of Ride or Die when going in with the ultimate. But man, Udyr's just running at a million miles an hour. There comes the steal in, and Nico does so much damage to the Udyr. Jazz music flashing in as Tony goes in over onto the Caridian on that Gwen. HP bars are looking low on a lot of people, but Jazz music is going to lose this by an absolute mile. Lands the double root on the side of Nico over onto both the Mordekaiser. Does have flash available, is trying to avoid it if he can. Pops it onto the, gets the double kill as J-Bob goes down. As Caridian comes back in over the wall, and the mid jungle duo from Ride or Die is just popping off. They knew exactly their limits there. As now Rudy goes in, we see more action across the field. Now the ignite goes down, the Xayah root comes down as well, and that is a lot of damage going down onto Rudy as he goes down for the count. Both the flash and the cleanse coming out. As Tailwhip is going to go for the kill as well, gets the double kill, but is forced to give up his own life in response. The shutdown going toward Toasty TG in the plate, going toward the Nautilus. At the same time, Tony is now looking for something over on Altec mid. No flash available. Oh, actually does still have flash available on him as well. Is he going to do it though? Oh, maybe that's just a bug. I don't think he actually had flash now that I think about it. I think that might have just been a bug. Yeah, okay. Apologies. So yeah, no flash available on the Nico. Otherwise, I'm certain he probably would have flashed there. But man, what a play in the pit, but the response from the bot lane.
Okay. Wait, there's more.
There goes Rudy in. Glacial Augment going down. Does get the plate. Yeah, Tony still gets the plate before Rudy's able to do too much about it.
Wow. Okay, cool. So that was wild. So we had Bully. I was actually going to say, wow, Bully really kind of does a great job of trying to, make sure that he gets the objectives, but Caridian sniffed it out immediately. Him and I'll take mid, they played all last season together, right? They have that chemistry. They got to the finals. They know how to do this stuff. It's like, it's the mind meld. They come in, make things happen. Music tries to bring in support. J-Bob is there. 1v1, J-Bob just beats the crap out of Music. And you think that, oh yeah, Tails Never Fails is going to flip this, despite the fact that Caridian nailed Herald. As we see Herald getting dropped in the mid lane, which is great. I love it when mid adder goes down early. Couple of plates, loving it. Let's grab one more. Thank you very much. Oh man, that snowball is rolling in that mid lane. But anyway, you think Tails Never Fails is going to take it. Yeah, maybe. You think Tails Never Fails is going to take it, but then, man, Nico coming back around. Oh, as we see a knockout coming in. Yeah, I think they're just going to be.
It's not going to end up being much of anything. I didn't have root, so Rudy thought he had a little bit of a window there, but it's just over onto the Nautilus, so there's nothing there.
Yeah, I just say, but it's just so much to break down. And then in the bot lane, Tail just getting a gorgeous feather spread.
Very nice.
Snaps him out, pulls him back, and then Lemon so aggressive with his positioning, and it's really starting to pay dividends as we see Music just getting bonked. Yeah, I don't know if this Jax pick. If once he gets things moving, he could. But we see second Dragon potentially going down. Yeah, they definitely could. So
but
maybe
it's going
a
down so
situation.
fast.
Oh
my
boy, here comes
gosh, it's
TP.
gonna be gone by the time Bully even gets there. Here comes the Nautilus hook in as Rakanna's forced to ult. That's a fat Nautilus ult though as Nico goes in. They're not gonna be able to kill anyone though at this point. Toasty might die here on the backside, but Maltake mid is fighting inside the J-Bob ult, Mordekaiser ult, and J-Bob's gonna get yet another kill. They flash back out, 2 kills for 1. Very nice plays from the side of Tails Never Fails. A little bit late to that fight, but they are able to turn it for their profit and now potentially clear out a little bit of jungle. Currently, the gold lead sits at about 800 gold, so it is still a very even game. But meanwhile, Jax up here in this top lane just getting plates, didn't show up to that fight.
Yeah, no, he just trusted his team, and he's trying to get that advantage back again. But yeah, this game is on a razor's edge, and I'll just call it out again. Ride or Die has the ability to scale aggressively, right? They have the ability to stretch the rift aggressively. They could throw music in a side lane, and he could get once he gets maybe a little bit of magic resist on top of. Looks like he's building. Was he building a Triforce? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
probably
this
grabs Triforce, right? Once he gets that first item and turns on, this is going to be a very different situation, right? J-Bob may not be able to bonk him as hard as he used to. But yeah, 12 minutes, 13 minutes in, a game that is this close, it is looking pretty good for Tails Never Fails, because Tony, if Tony is not completely knocked out of commission, which he's not,
although
they're looking pretty
Sign
good.
Sunder. Yeah, the Sunder coming out from the Jax, but like I want to say the Mordekaiser's pick's already kind of showing its value. We've seen 2 fights now where J-Bob has kind of just been able to pick someone out, especially with that Rift Herald fight. He was able to just take Jazz Music out of the fight and just bonk him until he wins. And then now in that Dragon fight, Nico wasn't able to escape as a result, and he got that really big shutdown gold over onto himself. And we're going to see if he's able to kind of carry that momentum going later into the game.
Yeah, and as we see, J-Bob's
oh man, that full Rylai's is just doing work even against that Sunder.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, he grabbed it for the sustain, and it's just J-Bob doesn't care. He's like, cool, you're gonna sustain. Oh, that means you have to keep auto attacking me, which means you need to keep sitting in my scrap shield. Good, enjoy that. But yeah, can I take a look at the gold values real quick? I just want to see kind of how separate we're doing. Still pretty darn even. The only major, the mid lane advantage on the side of I'll take mid, and then the Xayah advantage, and that's what we saw last series, right? Once Tail gets going, so goes Tail, so goes the team. So if Tail Tail's able to get, we got a minion, coming bot.
Oh,
what could it be?
Pops the ultimate. There goes from the new Nico as well. Tail isn't able to dodge it. Is forced to pop the E as here comes the Proto Belt coming in, and David is here on the backside, and they're going to have to give up this tower. And oh, nope, not the tower. Sorry, just the Nautilus. That's really nice roam coming in from the Nico. Is able to kind of force out the Xayah flash and the ultimate early, and then Protobelt in with his ultimate once he knows that everything is down, and is almost able to secure the kill and force the kill over the Nautilus.
No, I don't think he's gonna go for that dive, but I like the idea, and it's just so hilarious watching like a Nico minion, because you're like, what is a minion doing in the river? Oh wait, that's Nico, and even those little misdirections as we see another fight.
As we see another fight, David coming in from the blue side jungle, forcing the flash out of Tony. Man, that Gwen ult does so much damage. It's ridiculous, man. Just with the Nashor's Tooth walking in, snip, snip, snip. As actually on the backside of it, there's J-Bob killing Caridian on that, and now here comes Rudy coming in, is forced to E back out into safety. As that very nice. They trade the flash for the kill over onto Gwen. They did not know what was going on up here, and a lot of strength in the top side of the map. 3-1 over onto J-Bob, and he's kind of been flexing a little bit here.
Yeah, and there's that global objective control that we see out of Bully. He really prioritizes that global objectives, right? And not able to get the first dragon, not quite able to get the first Rift Herald, but now capitalizing, as we said, on the strength of that Mordekaiser pick. J-Bob heads up, right, walking in. I think he did get a little grief last season about maybe not being as strong as an individual mechanical player, but man, he knows how to be in the right place at the right time, and he was able to walk down, press his buttons, and allow them to get a Rift Herald.
Yeah, we're actually seeing the Kraken build coming out of Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's currently in a spot where you can do kind of a lot of different things with her. Certainly the Kraken Navori's build is very popular, but actually we've been seeing a lot of Duskblade and like lethality variants coming out. What that kind of enables you to do is it enables you to basically build Duskblade. A lot of people go Umbral after that, and then also just go full AP, which makes you just essentially a poke assassin Kai'Sa. But this is more of a kind of a front to back, allowing him to dish out a lot of consistent damage. We're kind of let's see where he kind of decides to go with that in the future.
Yeah, and there's a lot of high health beefcakes. As we Demonic Embrace being grabbed from the Udyr. Rylai's has a decent amount of health. Nautilus, enough said. So yeah, there's a lot of tankier people that the Kai'Sa is going to have to cut through. Right, she's not just going to be able to burst. Not really going to be a burst, especially considering how mobile and Tail just being able to dodge his way out. If Kai'Sa tries to drop burst, Tail can just dodge his way out of it if he really has to. So yeah, I do like the shred down build. And then also, why do you need to burst when you have a Nico, right? You got the Nico, and so there's
damage.
Yeah, seriously. And then Caridian doing a great job.
Might be a little bit of a cash arrow and a lemon. That's a 4-man who's forced to get the flash out. Nice shock blast coming in, but Rakan actually flashing in, not getting a whole lot on the backside. Nice hook coming in from Lemon. Doesn't have flash available to him, but they punish the Rakan for flashing in there. Jasmine Music gets forced to flashback as well. And now it is just an absolute womp. Here comes J-Bob on the side, and he's able to secure a very nice pull to get the Caridian kill on the very end of that fight. And man, Tails never fails. Just playing like a team, playing together, and securing a 3-for-0 plus track.
Yeah, that second dragon should be free. They should be able to clean up this bot outer as well, as a bonus, and just a really clean catch onto Lemon. I think Lemon just turned the corner, didn't quite know what he was walking into, and as you said, Tails never fails moving as a unit, and that is the strength of their team. Now I want to see if Ride or Die can adjust and potentially try to leverage some of this split push, right? Create situations where Music can start hard farming and getting his items. Unfortunately, the Divine Sunder isn't exactly going to give him that like kind of 1v1 duel potential that maybe a Triforce could, but that's probably what they're going to need to do, and then try to catch Tails Never Fails in a rotation, using the Nico, using something like that. That's what I see them getting back to. But they're not that far behind, right? They're less than 2,000 gold, 18 minutes in, only one dragon. There's plenty of league left to play here.
Absolutely, but the problem is that this is kind of what I wanted to get at when we were talking in draft. I think their composition is so much harder to execute. You look at how hard that engage was for them to make happen. They kind of used everything to kind of run in and try and take out that Nautilus. He just flashes out. When Rudy tries to follow up even further with his flash, with his ult still running, they aren't able to make anything happen kind of in that corridor, even just with the fight starting. And then all of a sudden they get counter engaged, and that fight just looks like an absolute wash for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is like Lemon can accidentally be in the wrong place at the wrong time and not be punished, right? Because his team can just kind of face roll and run up on them, right? We got double ghost here, you know. We got plenty of ways for them to jump on it, and also we just see Locket finished for Nautilus, so there's also a lot of tankiness to offset the burst. And since Gwen and Jax haven't really been able to get moving, they aren't able to just kind of sit there and just wallop you, right? The follow-up damage off of the Nico burst just isn't quite there yet for them.
Yeah, especially with the threat that Mordekaiser offers. They kind of have to play a little bit carefully. It's just tough for them to engage when they don't know where this Mordekaiser is, if he's going to be able to just kind of snuff out that engage, or if the Udyr is just there to play frontline. It's so hard to get on when Udyr is just kind of this big beefcake who just runs at a million miles an hour. Oh boy.
Yep.
Ooh, very nice. Tony is tanking here. Yes, I don't know if they want this too much more. Lemon is just by himself inside the tower range. J-Bob was kind of out of that fight from the very start. Tony went in, started tanking it initially, and that dive just doesn't work out.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a miscommunication where Tony kind of got aggressive. Lemon had a beautiful flank. They actually could have just been a little bit more patient, right? Yeah. Waited for the minion wave to crash. J-Bob got the pull in and the bonk. I think that's what they saw as their go button. But yeah, they could have been a little bit more patient, wait for the wave to crash. Lemon was coming around, dropped the depth charge. So yeah, just a little bit of a miscue. But I mean, that's especially in the early parts of these seasons, right? This is how you work the kinks out. And the nice thing is that, right, they didn't really lose a whole lot. I think they lost a depth charge. They didn't really lose any flashes. Yeah, okay. They're probably going to get the tower shortly, as Bully is not really out of position, trying to contest this this scuttle, but he's not going to get it.
One thing we haven't pointed out as much is that we haven't really seen this Gwen pick pay off just yet.
No, it hasn't.
This pick really wants to split the fight, really wants to just kind of make it difficult for Xayah to play by kind of being in their face and having her, the enemy team's front line behind her. But that we haven't quite been able to see that come to fruition because of how they've been forced to kind of like really look for picks, really force these fights. So when the picks don't work out and the rest of her team is forced to pull back, she's just kind of hung out to dry. So it makes it really difficult for her to play. So we'll have to see if Caridian's able to come online and really play some of these more objective-based games a little bit differently and see if he's able to kind of make use of that kit.
Well, that's where I kind of wanted to see. I was like, oh, Gwen, she's going top. Like, I kind of expected her top because Gwen does great when she kind of has the space to kind of just chill in the top lane and farm and scale and split push and do a lot of kind of dually things that Gwen likes to do. You're right. She can absolutely split a fight and skirmish and scrap. But, Gwen really likes to kind of just be in a side lane beating the crap out of someone, and she can't really do that as much when especially if she's behind, right? If her teammates have to start taking her jungle camps, if she can't take some of that side lane farm, if her development is going to slow a little bit down, so she then has to be able to make plays, which is going to make her margin for error a lot lower. So yeah, I agree with you, and then that's where I see the potential weakness of the jungle Gwen, right? If she doesn't get going and moving, it can be a problem. Oh, he just missed.
Did he autoed him, but
I think it hit, it, right? Oh no,
Yeah,
they're
it didn't
already
break.
invulnerable. Yeah,
No, it didn't break the shield. You can still
yeah,
base as long as the damage doesn't break your shield.
yeah, yeah.
So
Good.
it's just
You
funny to
tried,
see him
Rudy.
just walk up and
Respect,
like try and do
respect.
something. He could have
Yeah.
CC'd him and then trying to take him out of it, but
Well,
it's just funny to see it.
well, it's funny because we had a lot we had this conversation a lot with Rudy last season, was where he's like, guys, like, let me look for a fight. And
Mhm.
the fights are hard for ride or die to hit. Oh no,
Ooh,
as we
on the
see
side,
Rudy
there goes
potentially
Tony
caught
over
out.
onto Rudy. That's a lot of damage, but
Yeah.
still, Rudy is Rakan. He does have a lot of mobility, kind of just get out of dodge. Nice setup coming from Tails Never Fails. They do have a lot of good vision. If they've been forcing vision out of here, as there comes the Shock Blast, poke damage from Jace, just
Owie.
space things. With that Dusk Blade, he's kind of closed that item gap as well, and they're just going to start this dragon. They know they have the advantage here. They know they have the vision advantage, and they have the Jace poke. As, ooh, just misses that one. Tyson coming in, big pull coming in, but
Oh
the
no.
Nico is not the one he wanted to pull, but he wasn't able to get a lot there because the Mordekaiser ult came in too early, or came in early and stopped it. Very nice, but they have killed the supports on either side. Zaya is getting run down by music a little bit, but oh, big feather pull.
Wow.
It's both David, but David is just snipping away. Here comes Toasty. He's forced to flash back out, and wow, what a pretty good fight coming on the backside. There's a 4 for 3, but it looked like it was going to be a wipe for Tails Never Fails, but some hero plays from Rod, and they're able to really make some stuff happen there.
Well, that's the classic Tails Never Fails fight. I say classic. We've been watching them for, one series and maybe a third, right? But it's just total chaos, right? Total chaos
Mm-hmm.
across the board. Good grab by Lemon trying to kind of disrupt on the right side. You got Bully just throwing himself into 3 to 4 people, and then somewhere in the middle of the fight, Tail Whip just does something really, really
Yeah.
cool, right?
We get
And he just carries the fight, and that's basically what happened,
yeah.
right? So goes Tail Whip, so goes the fight, and if they don't find a way to knock him out of the fight or push him out of the fight quick,
Yeah.
that is what is going to happen every single team fight from here on out as we're on Soul Point.
Yeah, and we got the gamer fuel replay right here, but look at that Mordekaiser ult stopping the damage coming in from Nico and the rest of the engage, as Zaya is able to just kind of lay down feathers, just snips, like throwing him out. Jazz Music is in the backline, but look at this feather pull here. He lands the double root, but man, so much damage coming in from the Gwen over onto the Udyr, and just it absolutely deletes them. But still, the important people are still alive on the end of that fight, and ultimately works out positively for Tails Never Fails.
Oh no, J-Bob. Oh no.
I
Yeah,
think
he's getting.
our stream might be a little bit different from you.
I think we're. I think you're a little bit behind. J-Bob
A
is.
little bit. Oh, J-Bob
yeah.
is 1 HP now.
It was getting caught. Downside of the Gamer Fuel stream. So I think I was going to have to radio cast that one. My
Okay.
beat. It's cool, Joa. By the way, shout out Joa on production, as always, doing great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it looks like J-Bob. Oh no, he got low, but his team was there. So
Yeah.
we're going to see another Gamer Fuel. I'm gonna radio cast this if we see anything. You see Tony and
Yeah.
Tony trying to take. As we see a flash coming in from J-Jazz, we may want to stop the replays because there's stuff happening.
Just
But
walk
yeah, we
away.
see. I was gonna say. But yeah, like that is it's great. It's just another continuation of Tails Never Fails, right? It's
Mhm.
when they are sticking together, right? They are stronger, and they just are death balling up. And it seems like right now, Ride or Die is just looking for those picks, and they just don't have enough time to knock these tanky boys out.
Yeah, I just cannot overstate how enormous this Saya is right now. She's going to be so much damage for her team, as now we see a little bit of strength being shown walking toward this, knowing that they can be here for this Baron, push the enemy team out of it, and they just start it up in their face. They just do not care, especially with how much damage they have, and J-Bob on the side zoning with this Mordekaiser. He knows he's just 1v4 right now, and he just does not care. They're trying to get the pick here, but they're looking for something as well on the other side of things, as the split push is going on between Tony and the Jax. Exactly. I wonder if they're able to kind of come out on top, but they might just try and start this up, as Jax he is able to kill Tony in the bottom lane.
All right, I was a little bit ahead, so I was lying, but I did see that. It was he just ran him down across the lane. It was actually a really good play by Music. Tony was just taking pot shots at him, and it looks like Music has finally kind of gotten to the point where you just can't do that to a Jax anymore. And once he sticks to you,
Gaming.
it's hashtag Dota champions. But yeah, it's we're about getting towards that magical 30-minute mark where TCL games are won or lost, and games pretty close. But yeah, I mean, it is Soul Point. They weren't able to secure the Baron, and it is a Cloud Drake. So this game is still very much up in the air. But I do want to reinforce what you were saying, where J-Bob is doing great on this Mordekaiser. Right, he's ulting the right people at the right times. He's getting out of situations that he could potentially create problems for, right? If he gets caught and he dies, he's got a lot of his team's gold, and he's making sure that that doesn't happen. But Tails Never Fails needs to end this game relatively
Mhm.
quickly because this Jax is starting to become a bit of a problem. And if
Exactly.
he continues to scale harder and harder, as you know, Caridian as well, right? He finished his Riftmaker. Him, if Jax and Gwen get moving, this is going to be a serious issue. So they need to get moving on this and get some of these inner towers knocked out. Maybe grab a Baron, get this soul, and start knocking on the door of the space.
Yeah, Cloud Soul, not the worst thing for them. Realistically, they probably need more guys on the sideline. He's going to be the one that is going to be able to take this Jax. And Jace probably just needs to be around objectives, kind of poking them out, making sure that they don't just have a free pass to walk up. Uh, but we'll see kind of how they want to play throughout the rest of this fight. Currently, it's actually just all hands on deck around the dragon here, but they get that mid push in, and they might be able to get a little bit of damage on this turret. Ride or die a little bit late to this rotation as the ghost comes out from Bully. They might be looking to force a fight here, but they're walking into a corridor. There comes the Rakan. He's able to go in on his own, but man, that is so much damage coming out from Tail Whip. He's just kind of shooting around on the side. Now there's the flash coming in from Eli. Man, big counter engage. Jet's a little bit late on the response. He was hitting the minion the entire time, and he's a lot of their damage, but he's going to be able to pull the fight out on the backside. But Bully is the only one left standing, and there comes the Kaisa W on that Xayah, and they might be able to chase him down here. Man, Tail Whip a little bit late to the respond on the counter engage from Eli. I'll take mid with a huge ultimate, flashing forward, getting what, like 4 people there? And Caridian is just going to be able to chase him down. And Tail Whip is just gonzo. What a terrible turn of events for Tails and Fails.
Yeah, the counter engage, that's the Jax we were talking about. He's there, right? He comes up from the bot lane, gets a great stun down. I'll take mid. The Nico ults have been on point. He's been getting at least 3 people in every single one of his ults. The problem is he hasn't had any follow-up damage. This time he had follow-up damage, and it didn't matter how well positioned Tail was, and it didn't matter how hard he was hitting when the entire team is there. As we see, ooh, Rudy potentially trying to grab J-Bob. No, they're just going to grab the Baron and get out of there. I think Rudy's like, all right, fine, he'll flash. He was like, oh, I hope I don't have to flash.
He eat a little early. He didn't wait for someone to go over the wall and then eat to them. He eat to them, and then... I mean, maybe he had another charge of it or something. I'm not sure, but or the recast, but still, forced to burn his flash either way.
That's rough, but yeah, I mean, that's what happens when Jax, you know, you get a couple items, you start getting moving, you get a good fight, and I also loved the fact that they were fighting in kind of in a rotation, right? They kind of pulled them into the jungle, fought them in a corridor. That's where they wanted to be. Their auto attackers were able to auto attack. You know, they have a lot of narrow damage, right? Like Gwen has a lot of narrow damage. Jax needs to stick to you. Kaisa, you know, Kaisa likes having it's an easier target when they're all on the line, right?
Ooh, here's a big flank over on the Tail.
No.
He does have his ultimate available to him, but man, that charm coming in, and they just run him down. Big engage. Was not aware, excuse me, of that flank coming in, and just the move speed from the Rakan, that big engage with the charm, and they are just able to take out the primary damage dealer from Tails Never Fails, and they might be pushing for a little bit more here as they take the inhib. Big damage, and they're just going to take what they got and leave.
Yeah, that fight just completely flipped this game on its head, right? We hit 30 minutes. They win that fight. It was a 4-for-1. They get the Baron. And yeah, we got ourselves a series. I think we thought Tails Never Fails was going to run away with this first game, and they are absolutely not. I want to see what they're going to do next. I would assume they're going to do a 4-1 and let Music kind of do his thing, but they've got a lot more options now.
You don't want to fight. I mean, going back that jungle fight there, they don't want to fight Nico in a corridor. That just ends up being such a bad location for them because there are a lot of melee champions. Obviously, Jace, once he goes in, he's melee. But everyone else is melee except the Xayah. So Xayah was the only one that didn't get caught there. And when you get womboed like that in that tiny little corridor, it makes the fight impossible to win.
Yeah, well, and yeah, we were saying before, right? That even like the Gwen scissors are going to hit or nail more people. You can get into that sweet spot really nice where Khan's going to be able to hit because you know Tails Never Fails, like you said, they are melee, but because of how small the hitboxes are for so many of
here comes been absolutely killer from Tails Never Fails, and they're going to lose yet another person just kind of randomly in these fights, and J-Bob is going to go down very shortly as just the snip from the Gwen, and she has come fully online, got a lot of gold in the last couple of fights, and man, just pick after pick after pick, and they have just not been able to establish enough map presence to be able to push up this far, and just now they're going to just slowly erode and kind of lose gold. And man, now that the Gwen is online, the Nico's been online for a while there, and Rakan is going to get looking with the Xayah. Lemon's pretty
Oof.
tanky, but ooh, if Toasty,
Not
I think
that
Toasty might have
tanky.
been able to. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Toasty might have been able to cake that if he just popped his passive and kind of win. He had support coming in and his ultimate, but regardless,
Yeah.
they don't get the kill on the Nautilus, but they do get the tier 2 in the bottom lane
Well,
and just so much damage.
you called out Toasty's build, right? He's got Kraken
Hmm.
and Lord Dominic, so he's just gonna chunk down these tanky boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know,
He has
I
MR too. He has
no,
a
no, very, very true.
yeah.
What is wow? Mid is just trolling with his clones at this point. But yeah, here we go. Here's the 4-1, right? You got music in the top lane saying, "Hey, someone come deal with me," and he's a whole heck of a lot harder to deal with. J Bob's pulling him in, but it's like I don't know if you necessarily want to be pulling him in. And
Yeah,
here comes two. Let's see how they respond. As we see
exactly.
Caridian actually in the mid lane just being an absolute nuisance. So it really is kind of a weird 1-3-1 with Caridian looking to collapse, and he's just going to roll into three people.
They're going to get 2 inhibs off of this. Definitely Caridian, just kind of a one-man army here as the rest of his team is coming here to support. Especially with the presence of this Nico, they just have so much threat where they don't have a clear target that they can easily engage on. Just because they counter engage as they're going to go in and just one-shot Lemon. It looks
Man.
like here comes the Nautilus ult, the Rakan ult in contact. In response to that, as actually Rudy just 100-0 dies. J-Bob is fighting Toasty TG inside of the Mordekaiser ult, but he dies. Toasty TG gets that big buff, but he's very low. Now, Music is actually jumping in on this Jax. No one stuns nobody, but he is going to be able to jump over to safety. There comes... Oh, wow, they are just so mobile, just able to escape, especially with the dashes from the Gwen, the jumps from the Jax, just the general mobility from the rest of the team. They have a lot of opportunity to just kind of run in and run out.
And what a great nucleus, right? What a strategic and tactical nucleus on the side of Ride or Die, right? Caridian and I'll take mid. As soon as they see the fight starting to peter out, I'll take mid. Drake, 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 Drake. They all back, right? Caridian's just there
Ooh,
being
Caridian's
kind
kind
of
of in
a
a weird
pain.
spot, though.
He may be a little bit overextended, but
No,
he is
he's
going.
Gwen.
Yeah, he's just being disruptive while the rest of the team goes back, resets, buys, and prepares. Right? They're going to stop this soul point, and they're going to make sure that they're kidding. And then I would be shocked if they are not beelining either straight for that Baron to just boa constrictor this thing, or go straight for that top inhibitor and just finish this game off because they are in total control.
Yeah, exactly. Really nice plays from Ride or Die. They kind of just know the limits of their comp now. They've kind of gotten through a little bit of a rough patch, and they've just been executing exactly how they wanted to execute. Like you said, Tails Never Fails just could not give them that inch. They had such a strong early game, such a strong mid game, but as soon as they lost the tempo and Jack started to get online, Gwen started to get online, it just became an impossible kind of situation because where do they go? Where do you stand on the map? How do you respond to all of these threats?
No, it's true, and I actually harken back to a lot of times we would talk to Abarn's team. As much as I hate feeding his ego and giving him credit, he always says like it's like, well, how do you win these? See the Nico with the tank minion. I can't. I just can't even. I love it. But anyway,
Man,
he always talks about like he's like, what? We just pick scaling comps. We pick scaling comps and we wait till 30 minutes and then we just make the right decisions. And as kind of
they're a little
oversimplified as it
split
is,
here, especially with Bully. There
here
goes
comes an
Nautilus
engage.
going in. Rudy's on the counter engage. They're a little bit inside of a quarter and split, but Caridian is by himself here on the side of things. Tails might be able to get that, but there comes the Nico ult coming in. Big ult from Zaya, but Toasty's going in on backside. It just gets deleted. Oh, no. That is not what he wanted. Just dies. It's a complete team wipe, and that might be game. Toasty TG ulting into the middle of the chase of the Zaya and just evaporates. Nico ult wasn't exactly what he wanted. Nice ultimate from the Zaya, and ultimately they just outplayed them there. Missed a bunch of ultimates or dodged a bunch of ultimates, and they're going to look for the end here.
Man, that was the dirtiest of aces that you're going to see because Lemon actually came in from that area. It was one of the most broadcasted hooks. He just grabs Toasty, pulls him in, and just starts that fight. And yeah, they were in perfect position. And yeah, they're just going to go straight for the win. What a
absolute
turnaround.
Back and forth game. It's just Rudy. He's not going to be enough here. Flashes in to try and stop it. Blows the ignite, but to BMTP.
What?
Oh no.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, wow, this is just cruise control.
What a crazy game. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is cruise control for Ride or Die. Like they've hit their power spike. They're only gonna snowball from here. Just take your time, work your way in, get the Baron, and then bam,
Yeah.
just the match, just like that first fight, right? Turn the match in favor of Ride or Die. That's last fight, man. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's all about the last fight.
I mean, it's really tough to ult in as Kaisa against a Jace because especially with lethality, just immediately just gets deleted. There wasn't much he could do. He just needed to not be there. I mean, you look at the just general gold and damage graphs, and just the damage numbers coming out from the side of, Tails Never Fails. Really good performance from the solo laners, plus the AD carry of Ride or Die, and pretty even across the board on the other side as well. Jack's never quite getting fully online in terms of the damage numbers, but man, like you said, that like it all came down to that last team fight. They grouped up. They gave Tails Never Fails exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, I don't know what's in the water this season, but every single one of these games has just been an absolute banger. And I cannot wait to see what they're going to pull out in game two. I do think there are some adjustments that they can make, potentially in the bans, potentially in the drafts. But overall, that game was on a knife's edge the entire time.
Yeah.
And just when we thought one team was going to take it, nope,
Yeah.
proved us wrong.
Exactly. Right. You kind of just look at the overall situation, and I hope we get a game two like that.
Well, we're definitely going to get a game two. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna throw it to a quick break, and we'll be back for a game two, and we'll see how it goes. See you soon.
ahead of this. You don't know the half of it. I got dreams of looking up, high as I can get. But nothing feels like how it feels to know these things I don't know yet. The weight of everything, and everything's just thread. Sometimes I'm trapped inside and I don't know what I'm gonna do. But to take on the world is the only thing that we know how to do. I've got dreams.
All right, and welcome back. This is TCL Season 7, Week 2, Day 1. It is Tails Never Fails versus Ride or Die. We just watched Game 1, and that was a kind of a banger. Tails Never Fails coming out, kind of squeaking out a victory there after a couple of just really questionable fights, just turn around, have a big one, and just straight end it. I think
Yeah.
ultimately you look at that game, and it's kind of tough to know what to make of it. Steve, what do you make
Yeah.
of it?
I mean, I think that Pepto Bismol sales are going to increase. I think that Kaiser Permanente therapy hours are going to be really, really billable after the end of this season. But because holy crap, it's an emotional roller coaster, right? You know, you've
Yeah,
got, laning phase. Even laning phase was just so volatile and so explosive, right? You know, you say, I'll take mid, getting ahead, but then not really ahead. J Bob just absolutely spanking music in the top lane. But then the Jacks turned on and they had a
yeah,
really good fight and they were in
yeah.
complete control and they took two inhibitors and they were taking everything and then they
Yeah,
weren't
and
and then
it
they
looks
just
like Tails Never
lost.
Fails. It looks like Tails Never Fails for a second would just not stop getting picked off. Like they
Yeah.
died like twice,
Yeah.
just immediately after the bad team fight. So it looked like they were just kind of like slowly unraveling, and then all of a sudden they're like, "We're going to contest this Baron. We know what we need to do." Every single member of the team, and something I didn't shout out during the actual cast itself was how good of a job both Lemon and Bully did, kind of playing that front line. Lemon with a very strong hook, good ultimates, really good ultimates throughout the entire game, and Bully just being that kind of annoying presence as Udyr the entire time, just not dying, continually being disruptive, and just really kind of turning the tide of that team fight.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why his Udyr is typically banned, right? Udyr and Briar are kind of his two
Hmm.
go-to junglers, and he's just so he can farm really hard. He can do what he wants to the global objectives, and he's super disruptive in fights
Yeah.
because if you don't deal with him, he's gonna murder one of your carries.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's just one of those things where they created so much space, and it's almost like the offensive line, right? They created so much space for Tail to just do what he wants to do, and that is the bread and butter of this team. If the front line right can give Tail the space to do what he wants to do, and then if Tony is doing stuff on top of it, which Tony is a playmaker in his own right, Tail draws so much aggro just because of all the
Yeah.
crazy stuff he does. That's a formula for success. They just need to cut down on the unforced errors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those where they really need Nico to be the one to kind of land a big ultimate. If he doesn't land a big ultimate, we kind of saw how those fights went. The one fight where he was able to land a huge ultimate, they like absolutely stomped. But every other
Yep.
fight where he didn't get at least like 3 or 4 people, they just hard lost,
Yeah,
like
well,
kind
what
of
they really
percentages.
need is they need that follow up damage, right?
Hmm.
It's either they need follow up damage or he needs to be playing a champion where he is the follow up damage, right?
Yeah,
Where because he'll go in, he'll drop a burst, and it's like great, we're all 75% health. Counter engage that was basically what happened every single time. So I'm really curious to see what adjustments they're going to make. You and I were talking about a couple of different ones, but
yeah.
we'll see what happens, and then we can sound really really smart in hindsight.
Yeah, exactly. And really kind of curiously, I'm kind of interested to see if they make any sort of draft adjustments. I don't know if Tails Never Fail saw anything from the side of Ride or Die that they didn't like, if they were okay with the Gwen, if they were okay with that Nico. I know they still won, but that doesn't mean like there wasn't a champion that you don't still want to get rid of or want to pivot out of.
Yeah.
But especially on the side of excuse me, Ride or Die. I wonder if like they want to pivot at all and they say like we just can't give him the Mordekaiser or we just can't give him the Udyr. See if there's any kind of draft adjustments there because I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a very similar comp coming out of the side of Tails Never Fails.
I would expect the same. I would if I'm Ride or Die, I would expect potentially an Udyr ban. Okay, it looks like bans are pretty much the same on the side of Ride or Die to start. It looks like the bans are slightly adjusted in terms of order. Okay, that's the one that I was curious
Yeah,
about.
there it is.
Yeah, I think they expected music to take away the Mordekaiser. You and I were talking about this. Oh, how
Yeah,
smart we are! We were actually talking about potentially the Mordekaiser
yeah,
being a contested pick and J Bob doing so well on it, and Ride or Die just not either taking it away or not wanting to deal with it. So it
Exactly.
looks like Tails Never Fails didn't want to do it. They're probably, they're probably having nightmare flashbacks of last time when Sir Aaron, pressed R on the carry
Yeah.
multiple times, and it was just obnoxious as we see Zaya being grabbed away from Tail. Toasty plays Zaya, so yeah,
I'm
I
surprised
can see
they
it.
early picked the Rakan last time because they know that Lemon doesn't play Rakan. So
Yeah.
if they wanted to go in this order and they wanted to lean into that Zaya Rakan comp, I'm surprised that last game they went for the Rakan first and then were willing to give up the Zaya and to the counter pick. But in this case, they're going to go with Caitlyn. They know that this is going to be a strong lane. They know that Jet is quite good at Caitlyn in general. So I think both teams kind of getting a little bit of what they wanted.
Also in the mind games of the draft, right?
Hmm.
If you pick Rakan, you are broadcasting that you want Zaya,
Yeah.
right? So that's another thing where
Rakan's
they
not a contested pick, which is
no
why I was a little kind of surprised
no
in that and they
no,
kind of
I agree. And then on
overall
top of it, it's
draft
like, oh, and
strategy.
by the way, please, can we have Zaya too? It's like, absolutely not. Just take it away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
oh, okay.
exactly.
There's the Maokai hover. That could
Ooh, I think
be
a
that
little
could be a
bit of
Maokai
panic there.
Top, Maokai jungle.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming that
maybe
Bully
both.
wants to run it back with Udyr.
Mhm.
But so that's probably a Maokai. Although J Bob's fallback when he doesn't get kind of what he wants has been Scion. So I'm a little surprised to see the Maokai pick. Maybe they're grabbing it because it's a flex.
Ooh, Leona.
As we
Okay.
see Leona, yeah, that's a Rudy classic. I'm not surprised about that
I mean,
one.
that's quite a good lane too.
Oh
Zaya,
no.
ooh, the Diana gets through.
Ooh.
Just kind of going for almost like a similar comp, but a little
Mhm.
bit more secured versus the comp that they went for last time. I think I like what they have put together so far. First of all, it's a little bit more comfort for everyone involved, and second of all, I think it's just easier to work with. I mean, especially with that last game. Obviously Mordekaiser made an already hard to execute comp even more difficult to execute, but especially with last game, just the general way they needed to play. As we see the Morgana coming in, that's a pretty good response as well. Lemon's Morgana, very comfort champion for him, especially with that Caitlyn. Morgana Caitlyn, kind of a classic combo down here in the bottom lane.
I was gonna say that's a TCL classic. I think it's
Yeah.
like, was it Elusive? I think Elusive and Lemon ran that a
Oh, I think
ton.
everyone's running at this
Everyone's
point.
run it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
great, right?
yeah,
Especially against a Leona. And I was
yeah.
actually before you kind of went down that pathway, I was thinking the same thing in terms of ride or die, where their composition is a lot easier to implement. Right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of things that group everything together, and then you can
Hmm.
drop damage on it. Spell Shield makes that a little bit trickier, right? And
Yeah,
so it does throw a bit of a monkey wrench and forces them to play around it. As we see the
yeah. You're calling out the
Scion.
Scion. Yeah,
Okay. I wonder if they're
yeah.
trying to force him onto the Maokai top. I haven't checked
I think
my
they're okay with that.
U.GG.
Yeah.
I haven't checked my U.GG recently. I don't know if he's like still solid, but I know that he sometimes oscillates between like really really good to okay to broken based on how much they nerf his passive. So
Like I said,
it really
I think
depends.
they kind of panicked a little bit on that second pick, and they're just like, okay, we're just gonna have to pick something that's comfortable for J Bob, and so like I would expect that to be a top lane pick.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay, Zerath. Yeah, they really. I mean, I don't think Tony's going to see that for the rest of the season because that game three Zerath, even though they lost that game, like that game three Zerath was so nasty,
Hmm.
and yeah, they want to kind of push him back. I'm trying to think of what else he. I'm gonna go
Ooh,
double check his OP.
Twitch. Oh, that's just. Oh, sorry. I already have Caitlyn. I don't
Yeah,
know what I'm doing.
I was gonna say Toasty. Dude, Toasty
Yeah.
just does that, right?
No, no,
J Bob does play.
that's tail whip.
Okay, well maybe that is
Yeah,
a Maokai jungle and it's to Shen top because they just locked in
might
Shen.
be. Yeah, it looks like it is probably. Um, Definitely wasn't sure, especially with the bands coming in. Looks like the side of Ride or Die wasn't sure either. Um, I think looking at that, they have a very strong composition, but they need more damage. They just need like
I
a big ticket damage dealer out of the mid lane.
there's the music Orn classic. All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
see Orn and Shen slapping each other for 30 minutes. I'm looking at Tony's OPGG. Fizz keeps coming up. And he runs a lot of assassins. So I'm not quite sure how the Fizz Diana matchup is,
Yeah.
but Tony just runs a ton of Fizz. It's up. And oh, there's the Lilia from Caridian. Caridian's a really good Lilia player. I love this composition
Yeah.
from Ride or Die.
I agree. I think I really like what Ride or Die has put together here, and also I'm a little questioning the Caitlyn. If this is the direction that they wanted to go in, I'm not sure Kate was the pick that they wanted in this situation. I
Yeah,
think they wanted something that had the ability, especially on this patch, like Jinx or something like that,
like a
the ability to
bursty
just
reset.
kind of take it
Yeah.
over and just really take over the game on their own. But that being said, they bring out the Vex. Vex is a pretty solid pick in this situation.
Oh,
Has the ability to both get on the back line, but also just kind of set up a lot of control within a team fight. But really kind of very, very different compositions coming out from both teams. Almost
Yeah.
as similar stylistically to what they want to do, but are both going to achieve that goal in very, very different ways.
No, that yeah, I agree, and I do also agree with the criticism on the Caitlyn pick. I do think that like they win the game when Tail Whip pops off. Caitlyn is not,
Hmm.
you don't always think of Caitlyn as kind of a pop off. I mean, there's a lot of very, very old classic clips of like, you know, really high level AD carries just popping off on Caitlyn just because she sits there and auto attacks. The only thing I could think of not going with something that's less mobile but has higher pop off potential, like a Jinx, is that they know that I'll Take Mid and Caridian are just so good at getting into the back line and blowing people up that they need to create a little bit more margin for Tail. That's where the Zaya, and we saw that a couple of times where he just timed, you know, getting on targetable perfectly to make sure that
Yeah.
he didn't get jumped on. So that's where I could see the logic. But you know, I also agree that there are a couple of different options. Just wanted to give a quick shout out. Anybody wants to come in and give your opinion to strangers on the internet, feel free to jump into Armchair Analysts. In the meantime, yeah, let's keep digging into this. I want to look at this mid lane matchup because
Yeah.
this 2v2,
This
the
is
Caridian
spicy.
I'll Take Mid, this duo, they really are. I really see them as the nucleus of this team because they're making stuff happen, and they are going to win or lose based on kind of how they influence the map.
One thing that Vex does offer Tails Never Fails is kind of the ability to immediately disengage a Diana. If he holds his fear, as soon as Diana jumps in, he can just fear the Diana away. So that's something that the Vex definitely offers in the context
Mm-hmm.
of like both laning and during in team fights. The flip side of that being that he has to play these very carefully. His fear is quite a long cooldown. Changes, of course, but like that becomes something where he has to be very aware of the situation. And a lot of that onus goes down both onto Lemon and onto Tony to be able to immediately pop that disengage button. Bully does have the availability of that Maokai ultimate, which is awesome with the Shen ult. A lot of protection. So it's going to be the onus in terms of response is going to be on things like the rest of the team, but the damage is really coming down to that Caitlyn.
They also have a lot of really good long range engage.
Yeah.
Does Tails
Hmm.
Never Fails, right? They have the Maokai's long range engage. They have the Vex who can go straight downtown. So they have one of my favorite plays in League of Legends, which is the submarine play where Shen
Yeah.
ults onto
Yeah.
whoever is diving
Totally.
in. But they
Yeah.
also
On
have the
that Vex.
flexibility. Yeah, yeah, they absolutely. But I gotta say, I'm still giving the edge in terms of the composition to Ride or
I
Die.
agree. Hmm.
If nothing else, than because music is on Ornn. We've seen
Yeah.
music like kind of soft carry so many games on Ornn just by being Ornn.
Yeah.
I'll Take Mid is one of the best Diana players. He is the Diana player in the league. He has also carried a ton of games. And Lilia is just one of those champions that just, you know, you land one good drowsy, that ability, it's like a good shockwave, right?
Yeah.
It just completely ends a fight. So I don't care how good your Maokai ult is. I don't care how good your Vex ult is. If you get one of those kind of good engages or counter engages, and the Morgana spell shield is not on point,
Mhm.
Caitlyn dies, fight's over.
Yeah, that's
Like,
over. Exactly. Nothing you can do about it.
yeah. And so that's
I
the risk of this, right? I mean, because I don't think Vex. I mean, Vex does have the pop up potential, but I don't think Vex has that sustained damage capability to really solo carry a fight if Caitlyn dies.
Yeah,
I mean, correct
I'm
me if
with
I'm
you.
wrong.
I feel like it's one of those where I've kind of been hinting at it the entire time, but I'm definitely leaning toward Ride or Die's composition, just in terms of what they've been able to put together. And getting Toasty on like a little bit of a safer champion on that Saya gives him the ability to kind of play his more aggressive style within these team fights, and then just disengage with that ultimate and really support the rest of his team while the rest of his team is kind of doing their thing, right? This composition just kind of gels really, really well together.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, there's a lot of pressure on Tail Whip to perform in this situation because he is the guy. He is the person that needs to be dishing out the damage. They have a lot of CC. That's another thing that we haven't necessarily talked on. Between the Morgana, all the Caitlyn traps, the Vex Sphere, obviously Maokai just being Maokai, and plus the Shenton, they have a lot of tools. It's just gonna be how they make of it.
Well, that's interesting. So we'll say it sounds like both of us are definitely leaning on the side of Ride or
Hmm.
Die to level this series, a much cleaner draft from them. But yeah, in terms of kind of how they want to play the map, I'm looking at J-Bob as a split pusher. I don't know how confident I would be with J-Bob as a split pusher. Another important note is that because of the Diana burst,
Yeah.
Spell Shield may not last long enough, right? Like he may jump and they'll go, oh no, they're jumping on tail. I'll drop Spell Shield, and then Diana hits him with an auto
Yeah.
attack, and the Spell Shield's
It's
gone,
just gone.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, you may dodge one or two things, but as soon as Diana's on Tail Whip, unless they are dropping unless they're dropping the house on Diana to try to keep her in one place, that spell shield's going to be gone, and Lemon's going to have to be really, really careful about that.
And one
That
thing
being
as
said, the pick
expected
potential
is
is insane on the side of Tails Never Fails.
exactly, and kind of as we would expect, he does have cleanse kind of for that situation.
Yeah.
This is definitely something where you definitely need to double layer that safety, and I could see something like a Maw coming out for Tail Whip as well, just to kind of give him a little bit of breathing room with the timing of things like his cleanse and the Black Shield, just give him a little bit more opportunity to respond.
Or just like a GA, just get a
Oh
GA.
yeah, totally.
Because
Yeah,
the
I think
burst
GA is
potential
tough
is,
though, because
yeah,
if he goes into GA, the fight's probably already over.
that's fair. That's fair.
If he
Maybe a
because
late GA. Yeah.
just during that period where he is reviving, the fight's just going to already be a stop. So I could see it kind of going either way, but if it were me, I would probably lean more toward the Mob Mauritius.
No, that's fair, right? He just needs the tankiness, right? He needs to not explode and buy his team enough time, because you know he's going to have Shen Shield on him, he's going to have Spell Shield on him, and then he's going to have all of that CC, because they're absolutely going to be doing kind of a kite back front to back as we are getting moving into this.
Exactly.
We're
We're
call
seeing
out
those
jungle positioning, yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing those cross map starts once again. The bot lane start for Caridian, forcing that leash, and we see another push coming in for Tail Whip Lemonilla. Once again, kind of this, just setting expectations here. We know that that's exactly what the junglers want to achieve. They know that probably not a lot's going to be happening top lane on the side of J-Bob on that Shen, but really kind of going for that full clear, working toward the bot side, and maybe making something happen early once again on the side of Bully. Did good stuff. Now level 2 coming in from the bot lane.
Yeah, and we're gonna be looking a lot at this bot lane, but man, Morgana versus Leona, Morgana just makes Leona's life absolutely miserable, because she broadcasts that as we see, man, a lot of trading going down early in the bot lane as well, and yeah, a little bit less one-sided than it was last time. As two beefy boys just beating the crap out of each other, but yeah, because Leona broadcasts her jump in, it's a very straightforward spell shield. It's like, oh, you're gonna jump in, great.
Absolutely.
Root spell shield.
There's a spell shield as well.
Oh, thanks, Lemon. You heard me. That's what we're talking about. So it's pretty much gonna be that for most of the lane.
A really common thing that we see against this bot lane, especially Kate Morgana, is that we see the Leona E onto somebody and flash onto the other person. But that makes it much more hard when one of those people has cleanse. So especially if they're playing opposite pockets of the bot lane, you kind of have to play it in a way where you almost go on the Caitlyn, force out that Black Shield, and then flash onto the Morgana to try to hope your AD carry has enough follow-up to maybe look for a kill. But that becomes so much more difficult to execute.
Yeah, this is a really rough... this is gonna be a really rough one, because they kind of gave him the counter pick, right? Because they showed the Leona, they showed the Leona, they showed the Xayah, they said, hey, this is the lane we're running, and they didn't ban the Morgana. No, they really are, but this is a rough lane for Toasty and Rudy. So if they are able to hold even, then that's definitely a win for them, and they're going to play for those mid game skirmishes as we see Caridian coming in the top.
Far up. Here comes Caridian. They knew that they had started bot, but JL still caught a little bit out of position here. Forced to blow his taunt, blow his flash. Might be able to walk this one out. Does have the teleport available to him. The wave was just in a bad spot, but there's the cleanse and the Black Shield actually coming through. Tail Whip blowing the cleanse without needing to, and he is getting very, very low. Does not have flash available to him. The first blood. Very nice job from the side of Toasty TG plus Rudy, and they're going to be able to get 2. As here comes another stun, running low on mana, but tanking up the tower, and he's going to be able to get out, it looks like.
Yeah, he is. That's a great play. Just as we were saying, man, this is going to be a really rough lane for him. That is the best start they could possibly ask for. It looked like they just overextended just a little bit. The spell shield was down. Tail Whip seemed a little bit depleted.
He had the spell shield on him. Yeah, he had
the spell shield on him. And so, yeah, great patience by Rudy for waiting for the spell shield to be down. That's a veteran Leona player right there. I'm sure he's played against a million Morganas. Took advantage, and they jumped right on it.
That was like that was, to be honest, quite a misplay on the side of Tail Whip. He had the spell shield on him, so he thought he needed to cleanse the CC coming out of Leona. As a result, blows his cleanse during the spell shield, and then doesn't have it later for that ignite. So that ignite damage plus the flash coming in from Rudy was really the difference maker there. If he either cleansed the CC or cleansed the ignite, that fight might have looked very, very different.
Yeah, for sure. A very inefficient cleanse, especially when he took cleanse specifically to kind of deal with all of that. So yeah, could potentially be a harbinger for later fights. But for now, Toasty and Rudy definitely taking the early advantage, and that's exactly what they needed. The only inefficiency is that Rudy had to take the kill, but obviously if he hadn't taken the kill, the kill wouldn't have happened. So, good, well played by him, and they're looking really, really good in what is on paper a pretty tough matchup.
I mean, just look at the buy difference in the AD carries. It's Noon Quiver versus Kurgan is such hard. It's just it is just it's such a difference in power, and especially without cleanse now, they have to play this very, very differently.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though: is are they going to be able to take advantage as we see a couple chunks coming out? They're definitely playing a little bit. Yeah, a little bit more conservative, just waiting for the wave to come in. But I'm curious to see
Ooh,
kind
there
of what they're
goes
doing as we see a
I'll take
big
mid
fight.
going in. Tony ignite down onto him, getting very, very low, and that's going to be another kill for Ride or Die. Altec just picking his timings perfectly, knew he had a window. Tony with no TP as well. He's going to be forced to make that long walk back and lose this wave. They might be looking for a dive up here in the top lane. That's a pretty big wave. There comes the Ornn ult
They
over
are.
top. He's going to look for that big shield coming in, but he might just be gone. Big taunt as well. Is he going to be able to get a return kill? Looks like he is not.
Wow.
Big wave, big kill, big plate, and it is just all Ride or Die in this game.
Big Ornn. That's some big Ornn energy right there in the top lane, and that is a well experienced champion. We've seen music throughout many seasons just kind of picking the Ornn to the point where when he doesn't pick Ornn, I'm like, why is he not on Ornn? It's not banned, just pick it, because he just does. He just knows exactly the limits of that champion, knows how to pilot it, has done a million of
Here
those
comes
tower
the Lily
dives.
ball.
Ooh, just
Almost
misses.
lands onto the gate.
But yeah, and that's going to be the difference. That could potentially be the difference in this series.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he's
not
level
being on the
5.
Jax, being on Ornn.
That, I think.
He's feeling good. But yeah, I was gonna say once again, looking back in the bot lane, nice solo kill by Altec mid. I'm curious if he's just gonna jump right back on him. But I want to see if they gonna be able to take advantage of this, or are they gonna potentially get a little bit greedy because they're ahead and fall back into kind of what is still they might be ahead in items, but it is still a really tough matchup in terms of just pressing your buttons.
Yeah, I mean, but like a 2K gold advantage at what was like 6.5 minutes when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Already quite a good spot to be in. We haven't seen a lot from the Maokai. Not a lot that Maokai can do, unfortunately, at this moment in the game. But like currently, it looks like Ride or Die can just absolutely do no wrong. Altec mid showing so much strength here, just pushing up the wave, knowing that they want to be able to contest this. As Reform Bully, level 5 to level 7. I'm not sure you want anything here, buddy. Shen does have his ultimate available to him, but he's just going to have to base. There's not a lot that they can do.
Yeah, it's a rough one for him. Trying to figure out kind of where do I go. The bot lane is the obvious look, but they just haven't really seen anything. And that really unfortunate 2v2 early just may have thrown off his timing. I didn't see where he was when that 2v2 happened, so might have been he was looking for that and he just kind of just like, all right guys, I'm gonna go clear, reset. He's resetting back into the top side. We see a couple question marks going down. Ride or Die is wise to his tricks, but first Dragon looks like it's gonna be Ride or Die. Yeah, there's a question mark, and Altec mid is kind of shading topside to try to see if he can potentially cover and make sure Bully doesn't try to sneak the Herald, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Wow, Ride or Die is in complete control of this map.
We're seeing a completely different storyline from what happened last game. We saw Tailwhip get very far ahead on that Xayah and just kind of be able to be the damage dealer within the team fights. As another fight is happening down in the middle, and that is so much damage from Altec mid. Almost is able to kill Tony. Has flashes in for that last auto attack and is able to kill him. Altec mid just showing his strength, getting solo kill after solo kill. What is that, number 3 in the mid lane across the 2 games?
Yeah, that's 3, and that's Altec mid living on the edge and loving every second of it. He's like, oh, I got my proc, great. I'm gonna flash in, nail it, and get out. And it's just it's fun to watch, but it is awful to be on the other side of it. And just Tony's just unfortunately on the other side of it for this entire series, and he's gonna have to figure out what to do to make sure that he is useful, functional.
That's one of the tough things
scalable
about Vex in this matchup, because Vex's fear is extremely telegraphed. Everyone knows when you have fear. So it becomes a situation where if Altec mid just has to look for this wide open timing where after Vex has no fear, he has that freedom to just be able to go in because Vex doesn't have any of that CC otherwise.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's true. And right now, Altec mid. This is another thing. This is why there are certain champions. Echo and Diana really are kind of the two main ones. This is why you don't give Altec mid Diana. This is why you don't give Altec mid Echo. And at a certain point, it's not about playing around it. It's not about getting a good matchup. It's just don't give him these champions because he has a track record.
Look at the CS difference up here in the top lane. I feel like we haven't commented on this enough because that is pretty unfortunate. As another Black Shield coming down, holds that cleanse, knows he's safe, but Lemonilla now with no Black Shield for himself just goes down. That's exactly how you want to play those fights. You wait for the Black Shield to go down onto the person with the cleanse, and then now you just go onto the other person. With that ultimate, there's no Black Shield available, and man, Rudy knows how like you said, how to play this matchup.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so
it's
Tailwhip goes down, still has the cleanse. Rudy might die for it as a result, but he has the
oh,
Zanyas. There's no
there it
pull,
is.
it looks like, from the Zaya, unless he used the pull to, it was just cleansed off as well. But man, really nice play, forcing out the cleanse in exchange for Zanyas, but they're gonna have to get out of dodge now.
I mean, 5 seconds into this game, you're like, huh, I wonder what he's going to use the
Oh,
stopwatch for. Yeah, well, that's what he's
yeah.
going to use the stopwatch for. Yeah, I'll take mid is just imposing his will into this mid lane. And yeah, music on a comfy champion. He's going to chill and scale. He's just chilling in this top side.
We're
He's like,
kind
all
of
right,
getting to the
jungler,
point
leave
where
me alone. I'm gonna go win
this is
this lane by
nearly
myself.
insurmountable for Tails Never Fails. I don't want to write him off just yet, and I don't want to cast his curse, ride or die, but this is looking pretty difficult. Ooh, very nice, unstoppable from the side of Jazz Music. Gets the W, brittle damage over onto J-Bob in exchange, and makes that a really nice trade. I think that's kind of how the lane's been going up here, as we see a 1.1 gold lead just on that Ornn. It's kind of a similar story across the board.
Yeah, it's seriously problematic because the lane that should be winning on paper is bot lane, right? Bot lane should be
Yeah.
completely abusive. They should be completely opening Bully up in the bot side. As we see, Bully's actually going to be walking into said bot lane. Great route, and here comes Bully.
Yep, here comes Bully over on it, but they don't have a ton of damage. And as David is actually showing up on the backside of it, here comes the heal coming, but there's the Vex on the backside. No fear, it looks like, but they are going to be able to get a big Drowsy over as Reform Bully is still alive due to that Shen ult, and Vex comes in, almost is able to secure the kill over on Toasty. Now, David is going in. He has no ultimate available, but does have the rest of his abilities, and there comes I'll Take Mid. He is here. He is ready to kill people, flashing in from Tail Whip, looking for that final kill. It is just a absolute wipe. Shen has no way to access this fight, and he's actually getting low up there in the top lane himself. He's forced to flash himself, as actually it is just bad news bears for everyone involved in this game for Tails Never Fails.
That's almost an across-the-map ace. Because, I mean, Bully respawned very, very quickly, but, like, if J-Bob had not flashed that, I believe that would have been an across-the-map ace for Ride or Die. So that just tells you how well this game is going from in this game to, and what a bounce back, right? Mentally and emotionally from that kind of a letdown. It would have been so easy for them, to get on each other, to potentially, just shut down mentally, right? To mental boom, as Roku likes to say. But they didn't, right? They bounce back. They do a great comp, and I always call back to this, like, Caridian, one of the warriors of TCL, like, never gives up. I've seen. Do you remember he ran? I think it was like a jungle Lucian. He ran some, like, ridiculous, like, Lucian game. As we see, I'll Take Mid chasing Tony down. He ran this like double 80 carry.
This is going to be over.
Yeah,
Tony's going to try and get away. He does have Bully here to help him, but man, he is just going to be curtains for him. The Ignite coming down gets that late fear there. But no, he has a little bit of help from Lemon, but he's gonna be gone.
But every time I see, like, a Caridian team low, I remember it was his first game back. I believe he was playing mid or jungle. And I remember he was just playing Lucian, and they were losing. They were really, really down. I think they were down like 7-8K gold. And everybody was like, oh, okay, well, this team is just, like, done. This team is not. This team is just gonna, like, completely. This was 2 seasons ago, and he rolls in, like, solo carries 1 or 2 fights, and then you can see him, like, pinging, and they go take Baron, and then he either solo carries or like pops off in another fight, pinging, he takes another objective. They end up winning that fight. They win the series, and I believe they went undefeated for the rest of the season. So, like, man, the mental just steel trap.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's unbelievable to watch, and we're watching right now. This is what happens when he's like, "Yeah, guys, don't worry, we'll get this," and they bounce back, and they're in driver's seat. The thing is, though, they still have to finish the game. So
yeah, exactly.
Say that.
I mean, and it's one of those. I mean, look at what Tails Never Fails was just able to pull off. Just an absolute heist there, sneaking that dragon out from under the nose of Ride or Die. So you kind of look at this, and definitely Tails Never Fails haven't given up. The rest of the team still in it. They just need to make sure that they don't give up too much more, and they are able to get back into this game. Tony walking forward over onto this Leona. He's kind of in a weird spot because look at the positioning of both the Diana and the Nico, or excuse me, the Lilia. But nonetheless, it's going to be a situation where it's an uphill climb, like you said. The mental game is huge here. They've been able to kind of really claw back that previous loss where it looks like they were through. And like you said, they're looking really, really good right now. But are they able to carry this momentum as, ooh, nice fear coming out from Tony, just absolutely forcing out a little bit of a disengage, and he's able to just walk away.
Yeah, and I mean, this is actually kind of one of the first real lopsided games that we've seen. Like all of the games so far this season have been really, really close. This is the first one where it's like, oh boy, as we see Tony
Coming
diving
in, but
in,
he's
maybe
just going
getting
to
a
be able to
bait.
one-shot Tony. The root comes in over onto I'll take mid, but here is the Morgana ult. He's so tanky though. He's doing so much damage and taking absolutely none himself. As that 3-man in the mid lane turns into a 2 kills for the solo. I'll take mid is unstoppable on this Diana, and he certainly has looked every bit the part.
Please ban this champion.
Here's the Lilia ult. I don't know if he's gonna be able to secure anything. Yes, he does. Man, the Lilia doing so much damage. Wow. They're gonna be able to kill him. Rudy doesn't even need to be there to secure the kill, and he's gonna get executed. Oh no. Oh no, no, he actually took a sapling, it looks like, so he died, and I'll take mid just coming in and dabbing on him. Rudy looking a little silly there nonetheless, but it's still kind of a stomp. 2 kills.
Now this game's out of control. Yeah, we're at 9,000 gold. Yeah, now 9,000 gold ahead. Now this game's pretty stompy at 16 minutes.
I mean, this is exactly what we called in draft. They have a damage problem. Where is their damage coming from? It is coming from Caitlyn, and so they look for that 3-minute to that Diana, but they do absolutely no damage to her, and she turns around and just one-shots the rest of the enemy team. J-Bob now getting dove from the side of both Caridian, blows his taunt a little bit early, and now he is at their mercy. There goes the demolition onto the turret. Now Caridian with no ultimate, still walking forward. A lot of damage onto J-Bob. He's living for a while, but it's not going to be enough. Here comes the Maokai ult, the flash coming out from music. Tail Whip is here as well as the Vexa ult over top. Looks like they're going to have to trade his life in response. Are they going to be able to get this kill onto the right person? Yes, it goes over onto Tail Whip. Crucial gold going back in favor of Tails never fails, but nonetheless it's 14-3, and Toasty is pinging away in that middle lane with his feathers. It is still an uphill battle. They go for a desperation play, but the gold difference there, I don't know if it really shifted that much.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm
going over onto Caridian, but Tail Whip missing all of his combo. Now Bully is over here by himself, and he's going to die to Caridian. Here comes the Caitlyn ult, and is able to
big one.
Kill. Very big kill. Big shutdown.
Yep. Okay. We see life. There is life. I'll take it.
Yet another turret is getting pressured. It looks like they're going to lose 2 in exchange. Maybe they're going to be able to get a kill over onto Rudy. Rudy blowing his stun into that Black Shield. Black Shield, it might run off as they go for Lemon here. Flashing over onto Tail Whip, flashing out from Tail Whip, and now Jazz Music is looking for more. Here comes the Morgana ult. Very nice knockup coming in from Jazz Music. It's something where Orange just does so much damage. And man, I don't think they could have fought that at all. Here comes J-Bob fighting I'll take mid. Is he looking pretty good? Yeah, he is. Tony is over on the side now. J-Bob is by himself. He's going to be looking for this, but I'll take mid takes yet another soul. Tony flashing over the wall, forces the flash out of I'll take mid, but the Diana is just an absolute menace. Takes another turret, takes another kill, and just flashes away. Oh, very nice ultimate from the Vex, and he's going to be able to secure it. What a snipe from Vex. He sees that Diana is killing that ward with that pink ward and just snipes him from across the map, and Vex is on the board. Excellent job.
All right, so I believe. Oh no, Toasty still has a bounty. So they've wiped almost all of the bounties, all the champion bounties off the table. But there are still objective bounties. There's still 9,000 gold down,
10,
folks.
Like, oh yeah, 9,000. Yeah.
They're
oh my god,
9,000 and change, right? You know who's counting at this point. But you know.
They're looking for a fight here. There's the knockout over around Rudy. They're TPing in. Toasty TG ulting early, looking for the kill over onto Reform Bully. Maybe a little bit early. Doesn't get the taunt from J-Bob, though, as on the flank is Caridian. He's looking for something as well. That is a big... Yep, there it is. Just deletes the Caitlyn, lands the ball, and just flashes in with his W, and it is curtains for the Caitlyn. This Lilia still enormous. They have to play these team fights very, very carefully, as Caridian might be looking for more as well. Doesn't have his ultimate available to him, but he is still looking every bit as strong as he looked before that big shutdown went over.
Well, he's just so mobile, and that was the thing we talked about, where it's like, the
and there's the
counter to spell shield is and he's just gonna walk up to mid and just keep pressuring, and they're gonna grab the dragon. But yeah, the power of the Lilia Diana combo against the Morgana is the spell shield does not matter when you have. Let's take a look. He's got about 200 AP. Each one of his Qs is bopping for about 200. He's bopping for about 200 damage. That's coming up, that's coming up every 3 seconds. So he's just going to run around raining damage, and that's assuming that nothing else hits. Diana, on the other hand, has about 300 AP. She's going to be bursting pretty darn hard. So between the two of them, that Caitlyn's gone, right? That Caitlyn's gone. The Vex is not far behind, and then the rest of them, it's just a wet noodle fight. They don't have the damage, and there's too much tankiness. Diana has almost like 2,000 out there. See another pick off on Tony.
Yeah, he's definitely gone here, and another kill for I'll take mid. He's going to go back and oof, he's going to be even stronger on the bounce back. Something that we've kind of noticed is looks like there has been a degree of discomfort for Tailwhip and Lemonilla on the spot lane duo. This is something where it doesn't get better for them. Where like you have to wonder if this lane becomes one that they're going to go back to in the future. Where like if they're losing this matchup, if they're losing kind of matchups that look like this, ooh, I'll take mid a little bit overextended now. Reformed bully on the flank. They're going to be able to go for a different
no.
2v3. Oh my goodness, there goes Lemonilla. He has no mana left though. Looks like they're going to be able to secure a kill. Oh my.
No, but they're gonna Baron for it.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get Baron for that. They've already taken the dragon, and they get the big shutdown over onto the tail up Caitlyn, but at what cost? TP going in from Vex. Is he going to get run on for TPing in here?
He could potentially.
No.
Lilia's pretty mobile.
Yeah.
And that's a great. This
is such an awkward spot to be in. Tony
Oh,
TP's
boy.
in. It looks like he's just going to be dead. He doesn't have flash, and
Yeah,
oh
see you, bud.
no, the world's most unfortunate teleport.
Yeah, they're just gonna walk. They're gonna walk this thing up with Baron, and that's such a great sack, right? I'll take mid's like, yo, I'm just gonna push up bot lane. If I die, I die. Who cares? Take Baron, right? They know how far
He still
ahead
has
they
Rift
are.
Herald.
And
I,
they- oh
I
my
forgot
God,
it was the.
it's
I
gonna
forgot it was
crash on
so early
inhibitor.
into the game.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's
That
gonna work out well
is
for them. I don't
just
think they're gonna get the double hit, but no.
The only word I can think of is abusive. That's just abusive, right? Like at that point, you're just that's just insult to injury. All right, inhibitor goes down. No global objectives are up. I mean, I think at this point, just go buy, pick a lane and end this game. This game's over. They need to end
Tails
it
Never Fails
right
are
now.
definitely talking about the next one. They're definitely talking
for
about
sure.
What they're kind of thinking. This is kind of a situation where you kind of are playing out the rest of this game with an idea of what happens next. You know, you are looking at this and you're saying, okay, this didn't work out for us. We got to maybe pivot in our draft, maybe pivot a little bit of what we're doing in terms of what role each player is playing, and then just talk about, well, okay, well, we got this, guys. We won the first game. We just gotta take this L and bounce back and do better in the next one, and we're gonna be just fine. We're gonna just need to put ourselves in a better situation coming out of the draft and coming out of the early game, and we'll win it, as we saw in the previous one.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, yeah, I'll give you a spoiler alert. Diana's probably not going to be seen
Oh,
again, because
certainly.
holy crap, that was just ridiculous. But you know, I will call out the Lilia as well. The mobility. Anytime Ceridian's on kind of those mobile harass carries that can just kind of make stuff happen. He finds a way to kind of be where he needs to be when he needs to be there. And yeah, it seems like kind of the more static, less volatile, less dynamic carries like Tailwhip. I would love to see Tailwhip maybe look at something like a Tristana. Tristana wasn't even looked at this time around, as we see I'll take mid diving in, but Tailwhip was spectacular on the Tristana both games that he played in. Tristana has that pop-off potential, does have that safety, scales well, strong laner, pushes things in, so there's a lot of different things that he could be doing. I gotta say though, like, I don't know if there's necessarily anything that Tails Never Fails really failed at. It's more just ride or die ran them over, right? They just had a great draft. They executed the lane phase perfectly, and here comes the last stand.
Here comes the Ornult over top, and that is going to be a big Ornult. No, he actually misses it. Tail Whip landing it over onto Altic Mid, playing very safe. Now the girl goes Altic Mid just with his E plus his auto, almost one-shots Tail Whip, and they're just going to run over this fight. They're just flexing their wallets on it as the Lilia ult, completely unnecessary, but they're going to be able to secure the ace on the backside of this, and there goes the entire side of Tails Never Fails. Health bar is looking pretty darn healthy still for Ride or Die, nonetheless.
That's clean. This is as clean as you're gonna get. This is, we saw a couple of these a couple seasons ago. This is probably the first one we've seen this season. That was just an absolute rout. We'll see what adjustments they're gonna make next time, because they're gonna have.
I think there have to be some. I think
absolutely.
they just gave Ride or Die way too much comfort. You look across the board, every single player got like almost their main, or if not their main, someone that they have played to high effectiveness throughout many TCL seasons, and I think they just cannot let that happen. And on top of that, they themselves drafting a comp where they don't have necessarily the ability to have the agency and the ability to make plays beyond just the Caitlyn. You know, so you kind of look at the situation going into game 3. I think they're going to look at it as like, that didn't work out. We're going to go back to the drawing board and we're going to come up with something better, but we're still fine. We're going to be okay.
Well, they definitely have a lot of questions that they need to answer. One of the big questions is, cool, what do we ban? Because
Mhm.
I called out Diana just because I'll take mid can just take over a game himself, but
Yeah.
the Ornn was a major problem. The
Yeah.
Lilia was also a major problem.
Exactly.
I don't know if necessarily as much of a problem as the Diana or the Ornn, but like those two picks are kind of the ones that I'm looking at, especially because of the history that those players have with
Yeah.
those champions in TCL. And the question is, okay, cool. If you ban that, what are you going to let through, and then what are
Yeah.
you going to do about it?
Right.
So a lot of
Yeah.
questions I want to see answered in this next champion select.
Exactly. This draft is definitely going to be one of the more interesting ones that we've seen so far, and I can't wait to see what happens. Our Tails Never Fail is going to be able to bounce back. Ride or Die were able to do it going into that game too. Now it's time for Tails Never Fails to hear that silver scrapes and really respond. We'll see you guys in a second.
and Caridian just like, whoa, doing his thing.
All right, welcome back. Once again, this is TCL Season 7. We are in Week 2, Day 1. This is Tails Never Fails versus Ride or Die, and we are coming off an absolute stomp from Ride or Die, picking just a comfort comp, picking what they know, picking what they're good at, and just really making it look easy, frankly.
Yeah.
Kind of going into this, they had just this unstoppable Diana, this unstoppable Lilia that just took over the map. Now we're wondering, how are Tails Never Fails going to adjust?
Yeah, to dig a little deeper into that and to always go back into I think Spirit is the true archivist of TCL, but I cannot count how many series I've watched or casted with music on Ornn and mid on Diana just doing their thing. And I would love that. Actually, that would be a great statistician thing. Is I would love to see lifetime win rates on certain champions, and I would love to see Echo and Diana for mid, and then Ornn for music, because those really are the staples. It's like, Rise, Abaron Rise, Bach Zaya, like some of those. But yeah, like there are just certain signature champions that when you just keep them banned, because if they get them, there's a reason why they're banned away. And we were talking a little bit about the bot lane dynamic and how even in, on paper, a favorable matchup, Lemon and Tail weren't really able to take advantage, but there was so much going on in those soul lanes.
Mhm.
I don't even know if
Yeah.
they could have done much, even if they
Yeah.
had gotten ahead.
It's kind of one of those, you look at it and it's like you don't really point to anything. It's kind of just everything went wrong. At least if I'm Tails Never Fails, that's kind of what I'm telling myself. If I'm Ride or Die, there's not much to say about that. You're riding high on that one. Like you looked good. You picked what you wanted. You felt good going into basically every phase of that game.
Yeah.
So they're just like, okay, let's just pick something and win.
Yeah, it was
Kind of
almost like
going
it
to
was
this
too
one.
easy,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It was like,
Right.
wait, is it really this easy? It was. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the kind of games you dream of, right? You
Yeah.
go to a
Yeah.
solo queue and you're like, wait, I don't have to like twist my team's arms to actually take objectives. It's just everything flows. It's
Yeah.
fun. I really want to see what adjustments they're going to make in the draft. And if they're, I was saying it before, I would love to see Tail on something that's a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah,
Caitlin's
I
just
completely agree.
she's just kind of a DPS bot. She's safe. She hangs out. She does what she does, but she doesn't. You can't really pop off. I mean, you can sort of
Yeah, I
pop
mean,
off,
like
but
Kalen's
not anymore.
Kalen is having a little bit of identity crisis, I think, right now, where both Riot and the players are not really sure what to do with her.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just she's kind of in a weird situation. Is she bursty? Is she kind of going for those headshot combos? Is she going for like primarily ulting, or is she
Yeah.
going for like more of a traditional AD carry, auto attacking with the auto weaving with the traps and stuff? Like, either way they get rid of the Lilia. The Dyna is still
Okay.
up, crucially.
Okay. They
Crucially, the
thought,
Dyna's still there.
unless Tony plays it.
That's possible. Yeah. I don't know. Do they prioritize that Diana enough? Do they still give it up? They are definitely making a drastic adjustment, getting rid of that Lilia, that long range threat that has been such a menace throughout the rest of that game.
I also want Ornn off the table. Like, I think J-Bob.
They're still going for the Zaya.
Okay. You're
Oh, no,
giving.
no, no! It's going on the other side of the map now. I think they want that safety on the tail whip.
Oh yeah. So Tail, and once again, this is a champ that
It's a
Tail carried
Jinx.
with. He's just hovering. Ignore
I
him.
think it might be.
Ignore all of that.
No, it is Jinx. Yeah, it is
Oh, is it? Oh,
so
he locked
strong.
it.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Jinx is
Yeah.
so strong right now that that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Mhm.
They're going to go for Jinx Leona. That's a very classic, very good combo. That's one that coming out of the bot lane, they really want to save that jungle mid top counter pick, and they're going to potentially have to be able to give that up from the side of Tails Never Fails, because they got to pick one of those roles here.
And there's
Ooh, they get the
Diana.
Diana. Yep,
Oh,
you're
I
right.
forgot. Bully plays Diana jungle.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, I'm
that's
not sure if that's one that Tony
yeah.
plays, but it could definitely go into the jungle with Bully.
Yeah, and there's the hover on the Nautilus. Okay, so they're gonna grab the Zaya Nautilus. Okay, I like this. Yeah, and especially with the range advantage with the Jinx. Normally, and Silas. Woof. Yeah, I mean that's the problem with I'll take mid
Yeah.
is there's so many different champions that he
He's
can just
got
be
great
nasty on.
ultimates so far too. These are all good
Yep.
ultimates for him. Zaya
Yep.
obviously like a little bit less good, but like a little bit of invulnerability never hurt. Gives you some time to get that W cooldown back hop. But like Diana ult obviously great, Nautilus ult obviously great. Like
Yep.
it's a situation where this is a great pick. Where like he said, he's got a champion Ocean. He's got a lot he can do.
Yeah, the vacuum's nasty. Depth charge is nasty. Going untargetable is fantastic. There's the Ornn ban. Okay, yeah, that's what I was hoping for because the
Mhm.
as problematic as the Diana was, I'll take mid is going to be problematic no matter what. That Ornn just got out of control. Like that
Yeah.
tower dive early, and the Shen pick. I think J Bob was trying to go for something a little bit deeper in his pool, and it could have worked. Wow, they're really pushing him on his pool. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna guess
that makes a lot of
Malphite.
sense to me.
I'm gonna guess Malphite at this point because he's kind of low on. He's kind of a little bit back. His team has a press R comp,
Mhm.
and
They really
he
wanna
can
just
play it. Yeah,
force out because I don't think I'll Take Mid is very scared of what Tony's gonna play mid lane.
no,
So I think they're in a situation where they just want to put Jazz in as good of a situation top lane to be able to force the issue as they can. So they're saying
yeah.
let's just dump everything into what we know that J-Bob's pool is going to be, and let's just see where it takes us.
No, that's absolutely true. Something that is still up that I wanted to call out. I don't know if he will pick it into the Silas, but Xerath is available. Fizz is also still available. There's the Sejuani grab. Uh, okay, so we've
For
got Caridian
Viridian.
on
Yeah.
Sejuani. So we've got Press R, pretty standard Press
Mhm.
R Death Ball comps on both sides.
Yeah.
With
This
maybe
is straight out of
yeah.
like season 8.
Oh, straight up, yeah. I mean, I would say you've got a little bit more kind of I know actually both of them have pick potential. I'd say
Mhm.
The Jinx reset potential is probably a little bit higher potency in the fights. Oh, Pantheon. Okay, interesting. That is
Hmm.
potentially a Pantheon jungle.
It is.
But I mean, the problem is Bully can literally play like a million different junglers, so
Yeah.
it's like take your pick. It could also be a Pantheon mid. It's Tony and Bully have kind of a similar style where they want to kind of snowball and get they want to snowball, they want to get ahead, and they want to attack and pressure those early objectives. But we
Yeah.
see the Urgot grab. Okay,
Yep,
you know
that's
what?
gonna
I'm just
be
gonna hold off until they swap because I think some of these picks
That's
could
going to
go
be
in a lot of
Pantheon
different
mid.
places.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's going
yeah,
to be Pantheon mid. It looks like, especially into this matchup. I think that's what Tony wants. I think that's a little bit of spice as well. That he thinks that he can maybe catch mid off guard a little bit with.
maybe. Yeah.
The Urgot still a JWOB champion, still one that he's definitely played before. We'll see kind of where this top lane ends up going and where they want to what they want to do with it.
Okay.
But they've saved music for last, and there it is. There's the Malphite.
Okay. Oh, actually, oh no, it's not a Sejuani top. Okay, I was gonna ask. But yeah, so there's J Bob grabbing the Urgot. It is a jungle Diana. Awesome. Yeah, this is
I mean,
really interesting. We got some balanced compositions here on both sides. Okay.
yeah, this is one of those where you could lift
Yeah.
this and place it, like I said, like 5 seasons ago, and you wouldn't notice a difference in
No.
terms of like composition from the League of Legends we knew then and the League of Legends we know now.
No.
So
Yeah.
I think this is one of those that are drafting classic, like you said, you press R, you go in, and meanwhile on the side of Tails Never Fails, you kind of look at it, and the Pantheon is a little bit of a spicy pick. So they might be a little bit of a different direction that they want to go with, but you kind of just have to wonder, okay, what's the game plan for them? What are they saying to each other in comms?
What I like about the Pantheon pick. Also, side note: anybody wants to give us your opinion? Talk on screen. Armchair analysts for the next 3 minutes. But the thing I
Oh
like about
yeah,
this is you can
that's a
create.
good. Joa just pointed out Tony has TP.
Oh
Oh no
yeah.
no no, never mind. It just updated. He has Ignite.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say the thing I
Okay.
like about the Pantheon is so Tony, played jungle last season. There are a lot of different situations where it seems like Tails Never Fails works well when they are together, right?
Yeah.
And the main place where they're failing right now is that early game, right? Where they're split. They have to kind of deal with they can't play off of each other. A Pantheon global changes that, right?
Yeah.
And a Diana, if when Diana goes for her first gank, if Pantheon can also be there, that's
Mhm.
an instant 4-person party, especially in the bot lane. I really like that, right? It could
Yeah.
also put it plays off of where Bully likes to play off of Dragon. They want to potentially get Tail out of lane quickly. So I really do like that. I think the question is mid gonna let them do that, right?
Yeah.
Is he gonna or is he gonna make Pantheon completely useless?
I mean, one thing we
Which could
haven't talked
potentially
about
happen. Pantheon's high volatility.
One thing we haven't talked about is just like how good Silas ults are this game. Like, man, these
Yeah.
are just like such good ultimates for Silas. This is crazy. Like he can steal Pantheon ult to match a roam or to go for his own roam. He can steal the Diana ult,
Yeah.
which is just extremely strong because Silas can really get in there. He can steal something like Nautilus ult to be the engage for his team to set up something like the Malphite or the Sejuani. It is just the way that Silas really brings this composition together. I think it has the potential to be very, very scary for Jet.
I actually completely forgot about the fact that he can just match the roam, because
Hmm.
that is the reason why you pick the Pantheon, right? It's like it's also why you see, the Twisted Fate, right? Why do you pick Twisted Fate in solo queue? Because people just are out of position and you could just be there in a flash. If Silas Once Pantheon has ult, if Silas matches his first ult and pops off, gets a double kill like we saw last time, this game could look way more like game two than it did like game one. So there's a super high risk. Something we also didn't talk about, is just kind of snuck in there, is that J-Bob's on Urgot
Hmm.
against a Malphite.
Yeah.
So while yes, Urgot is a bully and he can kind of push you around, Malphite is literally made of armor. So it's going to be a bit of a tough one. Sorry, Mr. Producer, I did not hear you. You're going to have to say it again.
Looks like the
Oh,
stream might have died as well for
oh,
me, but
oh no. Stream died?
regardless, or at least in the Discord stream. Regardless, anyways, I think one of the things I do want to point out is like, I think Ryoklu brought it up in the chat, but the no cleanse on the Jinx is kind of a different situation. He can cleanse things like the Nautilus root, the Visaya pull, the Pantheon stun. It's just pretty reasonable cleanse game, but instead he has that ghost, which makes him that much more snowbally, obviously much faster with the lethal tempo plus the ghost just is able to be a machine gun turret from like a billion range.
Yeah.
But this is something where he's playing with a little bit more volatility here, especially with not a ton of protection on the side of his team. He has like a Leona for support, and he has three other solo laners and junglers that want to go in.
Yeah.
So it's a situation where Toasty doesn't have that safety, so definitely some eyes are going to be on him just to kind of make sure that we know what's going on here.
Yeah, the survivability problem. And I mean that's Jinx that's Jinx in a nutshell, right? Jinx has a survivability problem, and she doesn't really have anybody on her team that is designed to keep her alive, right? Unlike last time where you had a bit of a VIP comp, not the side of Ride or Die, but on the side
Mhm.
of Tails Never Fails, where it was multiple people just designed to keep Tailwhip alive. I actually think they could have used a little bit of that in the team comp mix. Looks like they're just hoping that Toasty kind of stays alive, or that the just sheer pressure that All Take Mid puts on the team is going to allow that to happen. Who do you think? Who do you think is going to take this one? Because I I don't know. I'm a little bit torn right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing like a level one stack here from Ride or Die. I kind of like Ride or Die's comp here. I think the way they've been able to kind of put together what they know they are good at this point, I think we're going to see a little bit more consistency on that front, and them just be able to put it all together in a third game. I don't think it's going to be quite the degree of kind of a stomp that we're going to see in game two, but I do still like what they're going to have.
Yeah, I completely agree. We do have a bit of a pause. Do not see the reason. I see a lot of not safe for stream all chat, but we're not going to share that right now. I agree. I gotta go with Ride or Die.
Hmm.
I've just never seen a Pantheon pick that I felt great about. It just falls off. It
I'm not
has
I'm
to
not sure if this was the game. Is the
so
thing.
many. It's just so many. It's like you said. So many things have to go right.
Hmm.
I do love the Diana pick though, and I think that Bully could absolutely throw his carry pants on and just carry this game like
Hmm.
straight up. And I've seen him do it before with the Diana. And
Hmm.
Him and Tail could absolutely just take this game over. But they're lacking that kind of core component of J-Bob being able to kind of like hang out in a weak
Hmm.
side and be useful, even if he gets
Yeah.
behind by like just pressing his buttons. He doesn't have that, right? He's not on a tank. He's not on a facilitator. He's not on somebody who can just TP in and do things. That
I think
scares me a little bit.
I think ultimately this game really hinges on Tony's performance. Is he going to be able to bounce back from a little bit of a rougher lane stage from the previous game and be able to both perform and be a serious threat to the enemy team? Because you look at what this composition is missing, you look at what they need to be able to do in order to make things work, and he has to be a threat to the backline in order for the rest of the team to be able to do what they want to do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that they can prevent him. So his flanks are going to have to be on point. He's going to have to fly into the back, maybe mid-fight, right? He's going to have to
Mhm.
time those flanks beautifully, which he can do. He's a good player, and just blow Toasty up.
Yeah.
And that might be hard to do. So
I mean, the one
thankfully,
thing is
he's not going to be doing it alone, right? And Bully
exactly.
is good at kind of diving in face first and drawing a lot of disruption. The question is, can they angle those fights and set up those fights where there is a really solid flank angle?
Yeah, exactly. And this is one thing where he does have more lane strength. It's not like he's just going to be sitting there waiting for things to be happening to him. I mean, just look at that early trade. He's given himself a little bit more of a chance coming through these early levels, that if he's able to maybe snowball that, maybe we see a completely different Tony going to game 3. And I feel like you look at the overall lane states, and like you said, the solo lanes are the name of the game here. Can they keep up what they've been doing? And the jungle starts once again mirroring what we've been seeing the entire time. Leash out of the bot lane from Ride or Die, but a start in the top lane from the side of Tails Never Fails.
Yeah, Rudy actually got a pretty solid grab onto Lemon. Just Toasty was not in position to follow up. He tried to. He walked up, tried to follow up, just wasn't able to do it. But the range advantage is real with the Jinx, and it's all going
Yeah.
to be about kind of managing his mana with those rockets, keeping him pushed in, but not too pushed in. I do like the mobility. The mobility with the ghost, but yeah, the mobility in favor in place of survivability may potentially bite him later. But going back to what we were talking about, as we see Tony pushing in,
Ooh,
wow,
Gradient looking for maybe a little bit of early pressure over onto Tony. Tony has a huge wave crash and doesn't want to stick around to find out, though.
yeah, it's funny. Just as we jumped away from bot lane, there was a fairly large chunk out from Lemon. So Lemon's just taking a decent amount, but Rudy actually also took a huge trade. So these
looks
two
like
beefy
it.
boys are just taking major chunks down. But something I wanted to call out with Tony in terms of Tony's style, Tony is not a chill and scale player, right? He wants to be a bully. He wants to push. He wants to be aggressive. That's why the Xerath worked so well from him, right? It does scale, but he just wants to take pot shots at people all day. So I really like this Pantheon pick. Something that he hasn't got to see a hook.
Nice hook going in. Just Splash still available to Rudy. He's forced to blow it himself. That Ignite going down on top of him. He's going to get a little bit low, but he ultimately is safe, which is just that blast available to him. Now, I'll take mid going in for a trade. Very nice damage going down onto Tony with that wave, also peppering him from the caster minions at the same time. Good timing from I'll take mid, forcing an advantageous HP trade. Now, going in once again, wow. Looking very, very strong despite the matchup.
Yeah, and that is the downside of this. And I was going to say before, like there are a couple champions that I really would love to see Tony kind of work into or build comps into, like Fizz. I keep talking about the Fizz, but like it's one of his most played champions on this account. So I would love to see him kind of on champions
Bully might
like
be looking
that.
for something as well.
Yeah,
He's kind of
Bully
hovering in a good
is
spot,
there.
especially since Heridian has already left. Bully now walking forward, doesn't have any CC to offer himself, though. Tony would have to run first into that Maelstrom there, but he's just going to base. Now, actually, I'll take me going in with the Ignite and gets the first blood. Oh my goodness, regardless of the jungler being there, just absolutely deletes the Pantheon. And man, despite being down in CS, despite having a bad matchup, being counterpicked, is now just still going to take over the game.
Yeah, that's rough.
That is very, very bad.
That's tough. I mean, that is the downside of Pantheon. If you get on the wrong side, I mean that's true with any AD assassin, right? You get on the wrong side of a lane mashup like that, and you can't. I'll call it accelerate the game forward, right? If you have to be the one to kind of recover the game, that's not a good situation to be in. Oh, J-Bob's in here, and I believe Music is fairly close to 6. Yeah, Music is fairly close to 6. J-Bob needs to get out of there. If he doesn't get out of there, Music is just going to ult him as soon as he hits 6. He's about to hit 6.
Oh no, J-Bob going in for the flash flip. It was looking for the bait, but no, it's just going to be Kurtz for him. Now Jazz Music with that Comet just peppering the frowny face now going in. Now I'll take mid is level 6. Tony's still level 5 now. Kurdian coming in. He's looking for the Ignite play over onto I'll take mid, but I'll take mid is going to give up the kill. There's that strength we're expecting from Pantheon. Now it was dueling Kuridian on that level 4 Sejuani. I think he might still be able to look for this. Has no cooldowns available to him as well. But now Reform Bully coming in from the backside, flashing in. Kuridian is forced to flash back out, and it is just the 1-for-0 for Tony. Gets that trade kill on the solo kill gank. Really nice job. Tony showing he's still got a strong mental on the side of things, but man, still more action down here in the bottom of the lane. Now Rudy flashing in, jumping in a little bit too far in turret range behind the Zai, gets hooked in, rooted, and it is death for him. Now a kill over onto the Zaya. Ultimately, despite everything that's kind of happening, Tony now getting low. It looks like I'll take him into White getting yet another solo kill. Not quite a solo kill because Kuridian comes in to clean up on the side with the river. Man, just nonstop action.
Yeah, probably not advisable for a Leona try to tower dive a Nautilus because he's just gonna
Just
he's
didn't
gonna
quite
root you down
range
there.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just
he didn't
gonna
think he'd be in range there.
just bonk you with the auto, and you're just going to be stuck there. But yeah, Caridian doing a great job of kind of
Hmm.
continuing to get his try to rush to level 6 as quickly as he can, but just
Yeah.
hover around mid lane and just be there when he needs to be. Force Tony to do things, but then got out right as soon as Bully was there. Bully cannot buy a gank. He's just
Oh,
been
here comes
trying to.
another
But
gank.
Caridian,
Caridian's just
here he
absolutely
goes.
everywhere. Gets the Sejuani stacked up with the melee champion, and J-Bob, without any flash there from that earlier,
There it
is going to die to that Malphite ultimate. Man, it is just a rough scene up here in the top lane for this Urgot. He has that Kindle gem, but not a ton else. With the Tabby, so there's nothing he can do against this Comet Malphite.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't actually pick Malphite because it was up. We talked about it. He's played it before. It's in his match history. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I don't know. Maybe someone in chat can tell me if Urgot is on paper a counter pick for Malphite. But
No, I mean, he got counter
Yeah.
picked. Malphite was last pick.
no, I know, but I'm saying like he could have picked Malphite.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those. Oh, here comes the
It's
Pantheon ult over onto the Leona. They were a little bit late to respond from the bot lane, though. Flash hook coming in from Lemon, and they're going to get Rudy on the backside
See
of this.
Rudy.
Reform Bully ultimately is going to show up just for the team picture. But
Yep.
I
He
saw
looked
from
great.
Pantheon. Bot lane was a little bit late to respond, but nonetheless, with this Nautilus flashing Knight, they're still able to secure the kill. Now they're going to turn that into a dragon.
Yeah, it's fine. It shoulda, woulda, coulda on the draft. I'm just curious, just because it's such. We always talk about ease of execution, right? And J-Bob's just getting blasted on some of these.
There's
Oh
a
boy,
response
but here
ultimate
comes the
from the
Panth.
Silas. They're going to be able to get Tail Whip. Still level 5, no ultimate available to him. Toasty TG now is very excited to go for this Lemon kill. He's going to just be peppering him with some rockets. Looking forward to maybe getting a few more autos, but doesn't quite have the damage. No mana left over, no damage left over to be able to secure that. Now the Dragon is going to go back over to Ride or Die. Well, looks to be a good play for Tails Never Fails. It's actually a good play for Ride or Die because that's what we're talking about, that response Silas ult with that Pantheon.
Yeah, I thought it was the Panth coming in, but nope, absolutely not. It was Silas rolling in, and that is going to be really, really scary for him, especially because he's, I don't know if necessarily
shutdown too.
ahead. Yeah, oh, okay, now he is a little bit ahead. And so, yeah, being able to just grab that Pantheon ult, and now he gets to flank, or being able to depth charge. Now he gets to catch someone. It's, yeah, there's, like you said, there's an embarrassment of riches. Or maybe he wants to do a long-range execute. He can do that too. There's a lot of different things that he could do right now. But yeah, this, definitely ride or die in the driver's seat right now as we approach the 9 minutes mark. Lemon landing another hook.
Onto Leona. He pushes his W button first, but Sejuani is here quickly on the response. Cleanse ult coming down. They still don't know that Caridian is here. They're still looking for that. Waits for the cleanse to run out, and they go over onto Tailwhip. Very nice play from David.
Wow.
And now Toasty TG is getting excited, has that presence of mind
Oh,
to be able to
no,
get some
Rudy.
mana. Oh, I don't think he needed a flash there, but nonetheless, it's still the safe play to do. Very nice play from Ride or Die. They
probably
knew
had
that they were going to
nightmares.
burn the cleanse. Now here comes I'll Take Mid going for that
Wow.
full all-in and gets another solo kill. It has gone from bad to worse for Tails Never Fails. He's just going to be walking up trying to get a little bit of gold and experience. Meanwhile, Toasty TG gets his plate gold, and they take the Rift Herald from Tails Never Fails, but they are going to get the dragon on the other side of the map.
Yeah, it's gonna be Dragon number 1, and yeah, this is where it needs to be. And I said before, Bully just having trouble. He cannot buy a gank right now. Like he is trying to be in the right place at the right time, but the fights are just almost one step ahead of him. He's just not quite able to kind of get into position. And once again, there, just out of range, he just can't quite get what he needs. To the point where he tried to go for the flash and dash in the mid lane and just was not able to get it. Caridian, on the other hand, right place, right time.
Yeah, well, he played that
Always.
so well.
It's
I really want to
crazy.
shout out Caridian for that. He played that so patient. He knew that he was going to have to cleanse with the ultimate down. He just waited for Tailwhip to walk up and guaranteed the ultimate and guaranteed the kill. It was really smart, just waiting in that bush, waiting for the correct opportunity to press his R button without that cleanse.
Yeah, it really is. He's playing so well, and I think his narratively, he's always been known as kind of he's going to be on a playmaker. He's going to do this. He's going to do crazy plays. But he's on Sejuani, and he's just hanging out doing Sejuani things. And it's really fun to watch him playing a more quote unquote, I'll call it conservative pick, right? Kind of doing the setup and the facilitation, and he's doing just as much cool stuff. Yeah, he's doing.
He's literally walked
cool
into every lane and gotten
yeah.
a kill. He's walked into every single lane and gotten a kill, and it's really impressive. Another thing that I want to point out is that another thing that makes this Pantheon pick difficult, not just the Silas, with his ultimate, is the fact that his ultimate is very telegraphed. He wants to go only one place. So when he has ultimate, like they're really only looking for that to go in one place. He's not going top with his ultimate. So if they know that he is only going bottom with his ultimate, they can always be prepared for that.
Yeah. Oh man, J-Bob. Oh, sorry. I know we're looking at bot lane, but J-Bob's getting beat
Yeah.
down. That's
This
just
this lane is pretty impossible for him now. With the tabbies, he has basically no AD. He's down 30 CS. He's down 2 kills. Plus the Sheen and the comment onto the Malphite. There's basically nothing he can do. He's just gonna be completely sacked.
yeah. That's a tough
Oh,
one there.
he's just chilling.
Oh, bully. Oh, bully.
Yeah,
bully,
no,
bully.
he's just chilling.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, here
there's
comes the fight.
the ultimate going over, no, over and onto Rudy. No cleanse available to Tail Whip. The Ignite going down on him, but he does have his ultimate. Toasty TG is autoing, but here's David once again, always in the right place at the right time. Now Toasty TG is getting his ghost going, but the Pantheon is here to respond. Toasty TG might be able to die. Oh, but has his ghost still running now. Tony is here with Reform Bully to respond.
There
Flashing
it is.
in, Diana ult, and they're able to secure 2 kills on the backside of that. Creating might go down as a third, and very nice 4-man bot lane from the side of Tails Never Fails. They haven't given up hope just yet.
No, absolutely not. So interestingly, I'll take mid had Moonfall, so he wasn't able to follow. Wasn't able to follow the Grand Skyfall, and I wanted to point this out because this is what Tails Never Fails looks like when they're winning, right? When they are together, when they are grouped up, when they have those 3 to 4 champion parties,
Yeah.
that's when they're winning. When they are split up and doing kind of the 1v1, 2v2 little shenanigans,
Yep.
they're going to
And
lose.
this is crucial. They might be a little bit greedy here. Here comes I'll Take
Oh,
Mid.
boy.
He is enormous. They might be looking for a play here. He does have the Diana ult. Once he is able to access Tail Whip, he's forced to blow it a little bit early. Perform Bully is going to die, but Jet is definitely going to die on the backside of this as well. Flashing forward with the Ignite. Now they're just going to have to sacrifice
Rough.
Lemon. That's a double kill. Got a little bit greedy for plates there, and it looked like they were able to close this down to a 1K gold lead, but now it's back to 2K.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, right? Where they felt the pressure. They felt the pressure of being behind, right? They're like, okay, we got to get something out of this. We got to get something out of this. Instead of kind of taking the dub. We stop the bleeding. Unfortunately, that wound is still wide open, gaping, about 3,000
absolutely.
gold ahead.
Well, the problem is they were down to about 1,300 gold. It was very, very much in it. Now Tony's going to get ganked yet again by Caridian. Caridian once again in a lane looking for more kills. I'll Take Mid is a little bit low, but he's definitely still going to be able to look for it here. Doesn't have Ignite available to him, but Tony's just going to turn around and look for a kill. Nice job blocking a lot of damage. Now there's the Duskblade. He's going to have to block a little bit of damage from Caridian, but Caridian is just going to be able to walk him down. Secure this kill. Ooh, maybe? No. It is all over for Tony, but nice trading 1-for-1 in that 2v1 situation. Pantheon blocking so much damage.
Yeah, and I want to see where the next Grand Skyfall goes, right? It's going to be up.
I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder. Could it be another?
Yeah.
Could they try to get Tail Whip out of lane?
Could he
These lanes
bot once again? Yeah.
Yeah, the longer these lanes are going, I mean, we saw that in game one, right? They had a rough laning phase. Nice. All right, so Tail Whip is out of lane. I want to see them kind of like impress this pressure, right? Rudy's a little bit out of position. Oh no, he's not. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought they were.
It's only 2K. This is absolutely still a game. It's going to hinge around this next dragon fight.
Oh yeah, I want to see what's going to happen. But they do have scuttle control.
Yeah, they do. Do Ride or Die kind of snowball this lead into even more? Rudy's kind of on his own. He's looking for this. He's just going to look for a little bit of shenanigans, maybe stall him up enough for the rest of his team to come, but no.
Yep.
Lemonade was able to get a ward down. They do know what's going on here. Reform Bully is finally helping out his beleaguered top laner up here, but they're on the Rod side for this dragon fight. They're kind of missing peeing this. They're like, what is he doing? He's not in position as Sejuani is getting some deep vision going over onto Tail Whip. Is he going to be able to just solo him out? He does so much damage.
God.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
Sejuani thinks he's going to be able to get a solo kill. Here comes the cheek rocket over top, and he's able to snipe it. Oh, that is the most depressing thing as an AD carry. He's like, dude, I am in my own jungle with the rest of my team around me. How am I dying in this situation?
Yeah,
oh man, and there comes the Grand Skyfall from
I'll
Take Mid going on to Lemonilla. Another TP over onto it. Now Rudy's over on his own, but it is just going to be a wash. No Tail Whip, no joy, as Ride or Die with J-Bob showing up to this fight are just going to wipe. Tails Never Fails. Reform Bully is the final victim of this fight, as Jazz Music is just walking forward, bonk, bonk, bonk. Has no mana, but it is absolutely no problem, because here's I'll Take Mid on the backside of things and is able to secure the kill. Oh man, things were okay, and now they are not okay. Here's
Tail Whip very not okay.
looking at the corpses of his fallen brethren, watching the corpse of his tower soon, and they are going to lose yet another dragon, and yet a little bit more hope to win this game.
Man, I had this really great crunchy analysis about how Tony's Grand Skyfall was timed perfectly with dragon spawning, and if they could, map things out with a perfect Tony flank, they'd be good. And then it was just a bloodbath.
I don't know
a total
how
bloodbath in their jungle.
I don't know how Tail dies there. What is the rest of his team doing if they're not pushing Vision forward from that location? That should not be a position where he is capable of dying.
Oh, there's the
As
Skyfall.
Tony goes in, and he is going to die in front of everybody. Here's the TP in. That's just J-Bob, though, as now Tail Whip, without any ultimate, he's going to die. They are just going into their deaths one by one, and it is just a absolute dire situation for Tails Never Fails. They looked okay. They were down 2k gold. It was definitely still a game. Now it is 6k down to Dragon, 18 to 8 kills. And I can't imagine these bounties are going to be enough to save them, even if they're able to get 1 or 2.
Yeah, this is painful, and especially this is what we do not want to see on a Pantheon, right? You do not want to see that scoreline on any AD assassin, right? Pantheon, probably one of the main ones, right? You want to see that, oh, I'm 3-1-3, I'm 5-2 and 6, right? You want to see him really kind of snowballing at that 15 to 20 minute mark. 3-6-3 is not good, right? He's got his Dustblade, which is it's something. The problem is everybody's starting to get really tanky. Silas is Silas is getting it. Silas got a bunch of health now. The only person that could really pop is the Jinx. But as we saw, if they don't get their timings down, they've probably got maybe one more setup, but they're just not quite on the same page. And, Lemon's going a little too early. Bully's one step behind. They're just not quite there. And when they're together, I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. When they're together, they're winning, but they just aren't quite together.
Yeah, they really haven't been, like you said, over the last really 5 or 6 minutes. Every time they've gone in, it's been very disjointed, or it's been a point where they've been caught. That's kind of what we've really seen be their downfall over the last couple of games, where every single time they've needed to be together, like you said, they haven't been. Whether it's a pick, whether it's just showing up a little bit late to these team fights, whether it's just a little bit of miscommunication on global ultimates or teleports, it's just been a little bit something. That's something they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board and kind of hash out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, they're definitely going to keep trying to win this game, and they do have the ability to win, right? And here we go. All right,
Ooh, flashing over onto Tony, flashing from Reform Bully. Now they're going to go for this. Are they going to have enough damage to kill the Silas? He does so much, and it is almost enough, despite all the CC, to just one-shot Reform Bully. But very nice two-man play from Tony Bully. That's a lot of gold going over.
And that's how they win, right?
Ooh, there's the Jinx ultimate. Is he going to get the Pantheon?
Nope,
he's too healthy. It doesn't matter. Critting going in over to Lemon. Lemon with the Guardian is reasonably tanky, but not really. Toasty walking forward. Doesn't matter if that hook landed. I'm not sure Lemon wanted that regardless, because there's Rudy Bray behind him, as well as a Malphite coming in on a flank. Man, that could have been really bad if they had turned that.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, right? That's the play. Tony Bully gets scary, and then tail pops off. If those two things happen, they're good, right? I think
they really need Bully to come up huge this game.
For sure, and I think they also got to figure out what they're going to do with J-Bob, because he just doesn't really have much. He has his cleaver, but I don't really know what he's going to be doing in these fights. Maybe go for an execute. Maybe go for an execute.
He can't really do anything in fights. As there's the Sejuani over onto Reform Bully. Leona ult is a little bit late, but they're going to get a lot of follow-up CC. Toasty TG is a little bit zoned. Here's the Pantheon ult, and there's the Malphite over into the front line. Reform Bully is still actually relatively healthy. Toasty TG now ignited, howdy backward, but here is I'll Take Mid. Has the Nautilus ult available to him, and they're just going to have to kite back. They didn't quite have the damage, and Tony is now going to be the last person to fall in just a big chain. He's going to try and... Oh, actually, I'll Take Mid flashing to secure the kill. Not sure that was necessary, but... Oh, dabs on him. Okay, fair enough. Sometimes you just need a style on, regardless of whether it's the efficient flash or not.
Wow.
And and here's the Rift Herald. We're yet again seeing another 20-minute Rift Herald inhib push. Stop me if you've seen this before, but Jazz Music walking forward. He is a tanky boy, has that fist available to him, and they're going to get another hit. And this is inhib after inhib, game after game. Yeah.
And that's the second time they've used Herald to take out an inhibitor. I mean, at that point, it's kind of like, all right, you've already won the fight. You're going to get the inhibitor no matter what. But it's just it's just brutal. Baron's about to pop up. I think, Baron's coming up in literally 10 seconds. So they can just go take Baron if they want.
Jazz Music doesn't have any ultimate, but they're going to walk forward. There's that blue buff. Yep, exactly. Just looks like it's going to go over onto J-Bob. Yep. All right, I think it's one of those where they actually, I thought that last jungle fight should have been good for Tails Never Fails. Ooh, Reform Bully's going to walk into the middle of the enemy team. He's completely on his side. Oh, J-Bob's there to help, but there's nothing to do here, because here's the Sejuani, and Tony's going to just walk to his death as well. Jinx is excited, and Malphite ult goes over onto the backline. There's onto Tailwhip, and now Tailwhip's going to get run down, and it is just a one-by-one death. This is a situation that they needed to avoid, but it has happened over and over again for Tails Never Fails. 1 dies, 2 dies, 3 dies in not even that quick succession, and it is just a very free Baron for ride or die. They are just not together, and they are just dying apart.
That's rough. Oh man.
I feel for Tails Never Fails. There's no worse feeling than just being like, all right guys, they probably back. Let's go check. Oh crap. And then
the mental's got to be in a rough shape.
It's just tough to bounce back. You're looking at over, now it's definitely over 10,000, right? 10,000 and change, 21 minutes in. this, you know, you've got a
It's
Silas,
yeah.
you got a 7-1 Sejuani. Like, what, are you kidding me? Like, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And
Who's currently soloing Dragon, right? Get up to Soul Point, as if you didn't
it's
need
gonna
enough
be
middle
easy.
inhibitors
Yeah,
down. Yeah, walk it in, boys. This series is yours if you want it.
exactly. And honestly, I don't know why Lemon is here. There's no reason for him to really be here. They're not contesting this dragon regardless. And he might just die on the backside of this. Rudy now going in. They're gonna look for some kills here, especially Toasty getting excited. Yeah, I just don't think he needed to be there. I think it's my issue. They weren't contesting that dragon anyways, and now they're going to lose a kill. Baron's already down. J-Bob just walking forward into I'll take mid. Now he's going to die as well. He's going to get knocked out of his buffered thing, and Jinx is going to take that double kill with his ultimate.
This is
over now.
I'm just going to take a moment. This is the hardest part about League of Legends.
When Cleanse coming in a little bit early.
Can't do anything, but here comes the fight.
Tail ulting in the wrong direction. Now they're just Nexus diving. This Tail just does not have enough damage at this point. Caridian tanking up that tower. Now here's Malphite going to be trading a little bit of that tank. Toasty walking forward. He's going to be looking for some rockets, and that's GG.
It's gotta be. Yeah, this is the hardest part about League of Legends, when the team is just completely out of control, and you're like, there's so little you can do, right? And you want to do something, but you can't do anything. As we see the Nexus starting to drop, it's
Eli looking for
rough.
that Nautilus ult. No,
wow.
oh my god! Oh my god, the Nautilus ult just absolutely one-shotting those Aya.
Woof.
Oh, if that isn't a microcosm of this entire series, I don't know what is. Holy moly. Ultimately, it's going to be a 2-1 in favor of Ride or Die. There's the victory screen, and once again, just snowballing a strong early game into an even stronger mid game. Everything going in favor of Ride or Die over the last couple of games, and really coming out of a strong performance into a potentially even stronger performance, and maybe have been a little bit more shaky, but they closed that out so decisively.
That was, yeah, I mean, if game 2 was never in doubt, game 3 was one of those where Tails Never Fails had the fight, right? They had the plan, they had the fight, and they tried to make it happen. And yeah, Ryder just said, sit down. This is our game now. And it's like I said, it's one of the, if you're on the other side of that, there is no more challenging mentally and emotionally experience, because you just know, you like you said, like, what is Lemon doing there? And my instant response would be, he's trying to do something, anything, because he's just like, it's just like, at that point you're like, like anything. It's like, J-Bob, why are you walking around in your own jungle? Because it's my jungle, you know. It's like, it's so hard psychologically to go from like, oh, this place is safe, to like, no, nothing is safe. Are you in the general vicinity of someone? Cool, you're dead. It's just a brutal shift to make.
And looking at these damage numbers, I mean, Toasty, highest damage in the game, big pumper on that Jinx. Has the double crit there, but like, I think the question of where the strength of Ride or Die was, I don't think there's any really question about it. You just look at the performances of Caridian and I'll take mid over the last couple of games, and they were not only the difference makers, they kind of were the game. Like, you kind of look at the story of those games, and you look at those two players and those two roles.
I'm gonna give it to Caridian if I had to choose, like, between the two, just because he gave us so many different looks. You know, I think I'll take mid. We got the greatest hits. You know, I love watching I'll take mid just beat people down on his signature champs.
What was like Caridian, 4 or 5 I think solo kills was not enough for you.
No, it was the you know what it was? It was the game 3 Sejuani. Because traditionally with Caridian, right, we see the Nidalee, we see the Lilia, but it's like, oh, Sejuani.
I mean, if you want, okay, let's pull David in here, I guess. Okay.
That's just my opinion. You know, I'm open to that, but I just like the different looks that he gave us, and it was pretty good.
I'm going to decide about who do I think is going to give the best interview. So,
no,
we can pull David. That's
okay.
Take
both of them. Right. We've broken the rules so many times at this point. I don't know. Hello.
Oh, hello there.
How was it? So that game 1, it looked like a little rough for you guys for a little bit there, and then looked really good, and then it looked really rough. So kind of, let's start there. Let's start from the beginning. How did kind of walk us through what you guys are going through in that?
Game 1. I mean, I don't know. It was just a scaling comp. I couldn't really get off any ganks because I was playing Gwyn. Doesn't really have CC until level 6, and then it's just a slow. So not ideal.
So it looks like you guys didn't like what you guys did with that comp there. So you really kind of switched it up to just like what you guys do in terms of like player to player. Was that a conscious decision, or is that just kind of how the draft worked out?
Yeah, we were just, I mean, the main goal for like each game was just keeping Toasty like sane and like not tilting, you know. So that's pretty much where we went. like that's where we went with the angle to get the games, get the dubs.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So I was saying before, one of the reasons why I was like, oh, he's MVP is I just like the different looks, right? We Gwen game one, which was a little bit of a different one. Going back to the well with Lilia, which is one of your go tos. I've seen it banned a couple of times. But then the Sejuani game three. Let's talk to me about the Sejuani pick and kind of how you kind of changed your playstyle, because even though you were the Sejuani and you're usually more of like kind of a traditional carry jungler, you were like 7-1 at 20 minutes. Like, talk to me about that pick and how you approached it differently from the Lilia game.
Yeah, I think I played it in a Clash game for the first time in like years the other day, and yeah, I mean, it's just a tank. It just tanks, It's 1320, the patch or whatever. I think it
Yeah.
just made
Oh my
tanks
god,
more,
when you just
even
walked
more
at Tail Whip
viable.
in the jungle and just like solo
Yeah.
killed him, I could
Yeah,
feel Tail Whip's tilt from
yeah.
here.
Tailwhip
Like,
just messaged me. It was I forgot about the play, but then I was like, oh my god, yeah, I just one shot you
yeah,
actually.
I could feel his tilt through the screen, through the game, with the 3 play. Like,
Yeah, I felt for him.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Box is the 80 carry empathy bond where he's just like, oh, I feel that.
Yeah, I literally was like, yeah, it's your choice playing that role. I don't know how you stick with it, but
Yeah. No, I mean, what about your team, man? Like, honestly, like everyone seemed like they really played a really role, especially Music stepping up on that late substitution. I think, especially shout outs to him, looking very dominant on a couple of picks there, and honestly playing his job, doing exactly what he needed to do.
oh yeah. Well, I want to point out that bot lane, I mean, Tosi and Rudy, they put up such a good, like they actually, because I think they're with Tail Whip and Lemon, they are one of the strongest bot lanes, and Rudy and Tosi kind of just held their
Yeah,
own. So
they
I want to
looked
give it
good.
to them.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were actually talking about how even in game two they were at a, like, on paper that's a rough lane, right? Caitlyn Morgana versus a Leona, that's
exactly.
tough, right?
Yeah,
They have the range advantage, they have spell shield, they have a lot of things, and they outplayed it. It was really really solid.
Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, I want to say thank you to Jazz because he popped off.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
also,
Yeah,
we hope Hippo will be here with us next time.
yep, yeah. Last minute substitution on the
Yeah.
behalf of Jazz Music, so always appreciated.
Yep.
Any final thoughts or any final words for your team or your fans at home?
Good job, Eli. That's it.
Yay! We don't worry. We spent the entire cast praising him, so you're good.
Yeah, we did. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, he just did his Eli thing, so.
He certainly did.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for casting, guys.
Thanks so
Absolutely,
much.
my
Hey,
pleasure.
congratulations. Go
Yeah,
celebrate your
okay.
team.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night. Bye.
Awesome. All right. On that note, what an interesting series. Really one that has kind of gone between a lot of extremes. And ultimately, I thought a very, very entertaining one, and one that I can't wait to see what both of these teams kind of bounce back and do in the future. I mean, like, obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of momentum being built from Ride or Die. Feels like they've really found their identity in how they want to play the game, what they want to do in the future over the course of this series. Meanwhile, Tails Never Fails might have a few things they need to kind of workshop, a few things that they need to figure out in terms of compositionally, what are they going to do, how they want to play the game, where do they want to be at certain times, and how do they want to team fight. But ultimately, just very, very entertaining from both teams. So really
Yeah.
appreciate both teams kind of making that happen.
Yeah, for sure. I think, just some final thoughts on both teams. I think on the ride or die side, I'm less concerned about what they need to figure out and more what other teams need to figure out, because
Yeah,
Ceridian and I'll
sure.
Take Mid have picked up where they left off. And I just want to remind everybody, they got to finals and almost won last year. Like, they were, I believe, well, I'll Take Mid last year. They were, and Ceridian was in finals the previous year. So like these they know how to win these series. They know how to
Yeah.
win these seasons. And people are going to have to figure out an answer to that duo, because they are just anchoring. They are anchoring
Exactly.
a really, really nasty
It looks really
team.
good.
Yeah, and on the Tails Never Fails side, I think they've got all the parts. I think the first thing is, right, how do they get their timings down? I think especially like J-Bob, I really want to see him embrace his identity. I called him kind of the weak side warrior. Like, I really want him to embrace his identity there and figure out how can I go as deep as possible, so even if they attack my pool late, I'm still good,
Yeah,
right? I've got 7 picks that can go weak side and kind of chill, right? Like, that's kind of how they're going to succeed. And then on Tony's side, I kind of want to see him figure out how to settle into that identity, right? I don't know if the kind of hyper snowball bully picks work as well in mid lane just because they're so, you said before, right? So many things have to go right. But like, stuff like the Xerath, I know I said it before, I'd love to see them maybe incorporate the Fizz a little bit more, stuff like that where Tony can pop off and make plays happen and do stuff. But everything, generally speaking, they have all the individual pieces. They just got to figure out how to put them together.
Absolutely. Ultimately, a very, very fun series. Rod looking super strong in those last 2 games, coming out with a 2-1 win over Tails. Never fails. I think that's going to be it for us tonight. Thanks so much for everyone for joining us. Shout out to Joe once again on production. Thanks so much for running the production tonight. And have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.